Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And, hold on. Oh, dear. Good.
I think I see some clouds somewhere.
I know.
Clouds?
What, clouds? What are you talking about?
Yeah, clouds blocking out the sun.
Hold on.
Changing the...
Okay, and we're here to recap the first season of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology and speculate on what's to come on the hit show Gotham. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace
and explore Gotham, Season 1.
Yes. And literally, I forgot how to even get into black and white. I'm that bad. How do I get into black and white? Seriously.
I don't know.
Oh, wait. I know. Wow. I know where it is. It's just not showing up right for me right now. It should be where the live... Oh, God. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. Well... It's not an official episode because we're not recapping the series on this episode, so let's just roll with it.
Well, much like Season 1 of Gotham, we're not quite perfect yet.
No, we're far from perfect. I think everyone kind of knows that. So
we've got some Petrelli-sized room to grow here.
So instead of wasting time trying to get into black and white, I will make sure to do black and white on the next podcast when we actually talk about the episode of the show. But without further ado, BlueDragonFive, what are we here to talk about on the eve of the Season 2 premiere of Gotham?
As well, to kind of refresh ourselves on what we've went through and what to kind of move forward from.
And we went through a journey, folks. We went through a dark spiritual journey. I'm not better on the other side. I'm really not.
Yep. And we were talking about Season 1 of Gotham. So allow me to recap what we've been through. And bear in mind, folks, it's been a lot, so I'm going to keep it as brief as I can. Just going to get to the main plot points. So no eyeball squishes in the mix there.
Oh, dear.
So if I may, boil down to the key points here. Okay, so Jim Gordon returns from war to Gotham. Upon his return, he finds the city to be different than he remembers. After Jim meets Harvey Bullock, the two investigate the Wayne murder. Jim comforts their son, Bruce Wayne, and promises to catch the killer. Now, the Wayne death is a game changer in the city. A power vacuum has the mob concerned. To maintain the established order, Don Falcone has orchestrated a fall guy to pacify the city with closure. He also tests Jim's loyalty by having him kill Falcone Lieutenant Fish Mooney's umbrella boy, Oswald Cobblepot.
There's a war coming! A terrible war! Rivers of blood in the street, I can see it!
I'm good like that. Jim manages to fake Oswald's death on the pier, telling him to never come back to Gotham.
Big mistake.
Yep, as he kills a man for a sandwich and decides he's going to return. So, Gordon finds a witness to the Wayne murder, Selena Kyle, whose craftiness makes her hard to interview.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Penguin plans his comeback to the city by seating himself in Don Maroney's family, working his way up the ladder. So let's see. So Gordon and Bullock contend with criminals like the Balloon Man and the Spirit of the Goat, of course with the help of forensic expert and riddle enthusiast Edward Nygma. As Bruce looks into his parents' case, he finds Wayne Enterprises is involved in some shady business, creating Venom prototype Viper. And it appears they're keeping an eye on Bruce and Alfred. Very ominous.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Arkham fiasco, Jim's made enemies with the mayor, Mayor James, played by the wonderful...
he's a scummy-ass mayor.
Played by the wonderful Richard Kind.
I always forget how shitty of a mayor he is until I keep talking about this show again.
Yet hilarious, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's no Romero, but he's hilarious.
Oh, no. Romero is actually a decent mayor.
Well, until he got killed in a football stadium. Anyway, so Jim's made enemies with the mayor. And at this point, he's pursued by terrible MCU detectives, Allen and Montoya, for the Penguin's murder.
And Allen is dead.
It looks that way. And season 2 is going to do nothing to dissuade that rumor.
Oh no, really? Because he's just not even.
No, then he's not going to be in the thing at all. So
what about Montoya?
Likewise. So essentially,
Montoya's not going to be there.
Essentially, looks like they've both gone to Belize for season.
Oh man.
So after the Penguin,
you mean they're not following up on the fucking tension-filled Barbara and Gordon triangle? You mean we don't get a resolution to that?
I don't believe so.
Oh man, fuck it. I'm done. Seriously, I'm done. Fuck this shit.
Well, you might want to stick around because technically the way.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh, don't be like that. Come on. No. Come back. Don't make me do this alone. Come on. Here, he's a prima donna, folks.
That's what I was watching the show for, man. I don't know what you were watching the show for.
Tiki, you might want to stick around because by season 3, Alan might come back as a ghost like he does in the comics. Seriously, in the comics, he died and he came back as the Spectre or ghost-like character. I'm not.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying that's how it went in the comics, technically.
If that happened, and Alan's just like, oh, and by the way, I died like midway through season 1. Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, no one cared. No one went to my funeral. Thanks much. Could have left some flowers. Nothing. I mean, they had that meaningful interaction where I saved Gordon that one time.
Right, that one time.
Anyway, so the the incompetent MCU detectives, they're going after Gordon for the Penguin's murder, and after the Penguin reveals he's returned.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want to say something to that effect? After the Penguin makes...
Hello! I am Oswald Cobblepot.
He reveals that he's alive. After he does that, chaos ensues, and Fish Mooney's none too pleased, not too happy at all. So following a one-man standoff and shootout, which is awesome, with Victor Zsasz, Jim, with Bullock's forgiveness and help, confronts Don Falcone, however, only manages to bail out a traumatized, damaged character mislabeled Barbara Keene.
Mislabeled indeed. Oh dear.
Literally mislabeled because that character should not have that name. So, in the fallout of Penguin's...
You like watching me and BlueDragonFive talk about Barbara? Well, you're going to have a good podcast on your hands when we get into the weaknesses. I really do feel like that became like the standout segment of our Exploring Gotham podcast.
Yes, when I get really peeved and you laugh at my pain.
Pretty much. Because I'm like, I don't take this shit that serious.
It's not like she's supposed to be the wife of one of my favorite characters ever. It's not like that's not like that got butchered at all. Anyway, so in the fallout of Penguin's resurgence, the mob comes to a peaceful arrangement, and it's revealed it was all part of Penguin's master plan to become Falcone's informant in Maroni's employ. So, while Gordon works through trust issues with the GCPD, again, they did abandon him after all. In the process, he battles Black Mask and forms a partnership with DA Harvey Dent. It might look up for season 2. Okay, bear that sound.
He had a couple good scenes. He's just incredibly underwritten.
It's not bad. He just didn't have anything to do. Okay, let's just make that clear. Okay, anyway, so let's see where were we. Okay, anyway, so after he again forms a partnership with Harvey Dent, we see Fish. We see Fish's plan to take over Falcone's territory by planting a girl she's taken off the street and trained, Liza, her little girl, so to speak.
This was actually one of the best storylines of the season, I thought. This
did pan out very well. I mean, it panned out more interestingly than it could have.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, anyway, so basically this is a plot. Basically plants this girl Liza around Falcone, and essentially Falcone takes interest in her as his love, kind of quasi love interest. As that plan takes effect, Penguin's onto it, by the way. So the Penguin is onto this plot. It's just going to pan out later on, as we mentioned. So Bruce learns self-defense, something Tommy Elliott learns the hard way. He also meets and bonds with Selena Kyle, which is lovely. So Jim's on the rocks with a petty, unstable Barbara who's cheating on him. Jim and Harvey Dent, they pursue Dick Lovecraft, who is a lead in the Wayne murder, it would seem. Not really. Pursue Lovecraft, who ends up dead, yet he may not be a complete loss because they unearth a conspiracy involving Wayne Enterprises, resulting in an awesome Bullock-Alfred team-up to find Bruce and Selena before it's too late. Ultimately, Selena gets away. And, Dave saved her, all that stuff. So, Mayor James, he is very unhappy with Jim, and he reassigns him to a guard at the newly and really rushed reopened Arkham Asylum.
Incredibly rushed, yes.
Incredibly rushed, seriously. There he meets Leslie Tompkins. The two head off and get into a relationship. It's very nice. After Jim foils the electrocutioner, he's back on the force to Commissioner Loeb's displeasure. Ooh, I love me some Commissioner Loeb in this show. He's really good. Oh, man, we should probably talk about him, too. I forgot to mention him.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, anyway, so after revealing the truth about Fish's plans, Liza is killed, Mooney's about to be tortured, and Gilzine is ambiguously brainwashed.
Yes.
Penguin receives the nightclub that Fish Mooney owns as a reward, much to Miss Cobblepot's joy.
Oh, Oswald.
Much to her enjoyment, her little boy getting a nightclub. Okay, meanwhile, as Enigma continues to fall for the file clerk, Miss Kringle, Gordon battles blatant corruption at the GCPD when a witness is killed by Detective Flass and is labeled a suicide.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dear.
A favor from Penguin lets Jim prove A favor from Penguin gets Jim the proof he needs to take down Flass, and he takes a stand against Flass, this time with backup such as Sarah Essen and the rest of the GCP that are there to help him take down this guy. Hooray! Make up for stuff. So Bullock saves Fish and helps her leave town, only to be captured by Dr. Dahlmacher, and eventually strategize a revolt and escape. There's some really dark names. Selena reveals
one of the darker storylines, but also one of the ones that doesn't really go anywhere.
Exactly. It only goes to the exit. That's all it does, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a whole section about Fish Mooney finding where the exit is. Does anyone
That's a perfect explanation.
I have to
and then she gets shot as a cliffhanger, and then it's like, oh, she's all fine. We're not even going to address that.
It's like Monty Python. Wait, weren't you shot and bleeding out to death?
Right.
So after that, Selena reveals she knows nothing about Bruce's parents' murder, about the murderer specifically, to Bruce, which is unfortunate, which means, oh, that's a shame. So Jim and Bloom. That had a lot of echo.
I don't even know what that was. I clicked like the theater masks.
You clicked the Inception button.
You're right. That is the Inception button.
There's a lot more echo than I remembered. Anyway, so after Selena reveals she knows nothing about the murderer, Jim and Bullock deal with Gerald Crane's fear-related crimes, resulting in his son Jonathan's perpetual state of fear. Really dark episode ending there. Fish informs Maroney about Penguin, ending that job. We meet Jerome at the Haley Circus, and then the Red Hood Gang is born. All potential links to Joker, those two episodes.
Sure.
Jim, Bullock, and Penguin look for leverage on Loeb. That leverage revealed to be his crazy daughter, which is leverage to protect Bullock in the end. So, good for Bullock. An old friend of Alfred stops by to spy on Bruce and incapacitate Alfred. Doesn't go well.
This guy had a pretty good run.
Yeah. Yep, Reggie, poor Reggie.
No, seriously though, I thought he had a better character arc than I was expecting for someone like him.
He did. And he met the unfortunate end at Selena's.
He did. That unfortunate end definitely kind of spawned some, philosophical Catwoman versus Batman debate. So that was a good thing.
Speaking of which, Bruce and Selena, they track Reggie down, and she kills him. Bruce isn't too happy about that. But then after the two work through that, the two eventually look into the head of the conspiracy, that being Sid Bunderslaw. Really weird name. I still can't get over it. It is. Bunderslaw. Who tells Bruce rather directly, while offering him cookies, the company is
he's not like Nick Ford.
Oh, certainly, of course, he's not like Nick Ford. At least he's offering you a cookie, but it's a cookie with a lot of meaning attached to it. Take the cookie. So anyway, he basically
Bruce, don't you want to take your cookie?
So he almost blatantly says the company is corrupt, but Lucius Fox, a friend of Bruce's father, informs Bruce that his father was a stoic and just played along, really. That's what he's saying underneath it all. Meanwhile, then we get the ogre rears his ugly head, he's handsome, considering he's a serial killer that attracts women. The ogre rears his head, tries targeting Jim thanks to Loeb's maneuvering of that. He goes after a spiraling and plain terrible Barbara Gordon, who's who in her off time is trying to corrupt children. By the way, in her off time is trying to corrupt children.
Yeah, exactly.
She and the ogre.
Nothing ever came of that subplot.
And again, believe it or not, she and the ogre hit it off. You know, she kills her parents. The ogre dies. She blames Leslie Tompkins for the death.
And she becomes the most evil person in the whole season. And I honestly think it's kind of fucking retroactively brilliant in a way.
I think it's just screwed up. We'll get into it. So. Okay,
I'm not saying the character's good. I'm just saying they found a creative way to deal with the backlash.
I'm saying it's screwed up. Take it for what you will. Whether you take screwed up in a good way, that's really messed up, or that's just screwed up as a no. That is.
Oh, I definitely think it's screwed up in a good way.
I got both. I agree to both of those things. Okay. Anyway, so Nigma's jealous of Kringle's new jerk of a boyfriend and kills him. Leaves a clue that she figures out, and Nigma is not happy.
And he freaks.
Oh yeah, we're going to see the ramifications of that in season 2. We'll get into that. So, with Mooney's return, a gang war begins between the mobsters. Just chaos breaks loose in all of Gotham. Selena even joins forces with Fish Mooney.
Rather inexplicably.
Inexplicably, but it makes sense. Doesn't say it makes sense. You should go to the most.
Doesn't.
I'm saying she goes to the most powerful side, but I mean, ultimately, it doesn't make sense. But it's just like, it makes sense. He's going to go to the most advantageous thing.
I wouldn't even try and defend it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, completely comes out of nowhere. I'm just saying, she'd want to go on the winning side there, and again, she's not really she doesn't have Bruce around anymore to really kind of steer in the right direction. I don't know. So Selena joins Fish Mooney. Jim tries to save Falcone, Penguin, and Gilzine to put an end to this chaos. Maroni gets killed by Fish because he can't keep his mouth shut. Penguin battles Fish, ambiguously kills her, and becomes the King of Gotham!
I am the King of Gotham! If I don't fall off of the ledge of this building that I'm standing on.
If Gilzine doesn't push me because I killed the person who really cared about Then we see Barbara definitely has got bats in her belfry as she tries to kill Leslie Tompkins, and thankfully gets her head banged against. It was
glorious. It was fucking glorious.
I gotta tell you, rewatching it just to get ready for this, I love seeing Leslie Tompkins bash her head into the floor.
Oh my god, yes, it's so cathartic.
It's really fun. Okay, anyway, so then the end of the season here is Falcone puts the city in Gordon's hands essentially, and then last bit of the season, really awesome. Bruce and Alfred.
Most predictable TV cliffhanger of all time. I still stand by that.
Anyway, I thought it was cool. So we had Bruce and Alfred discover a secret entrance to the Batcave.
Okay, I'm just saying, did they really need to show that clip of the fireplace opening up like 3 episodes before we actually see it as a final shot in the finale?
Yes, but the promos killed it, I will admit.
That's what I'm saying. The promos totally killed it.
But taking that out of the equation is a pretty cool way to end the season.
Taking it out of the equation, it's definitely a good setup, yeah.
Anyway, so that's season 1 in a nutshell.
And, of course, you forgot to mention the most prominent detail to BlueDragonFive. Come on.
Barbara's terrible?
No, the shiny shoes.
Mother of God, the shiny
shoes.
Mother
of God. I mean, if anything has, like, supernatural powers on this show, it's the shiny shoes.
Hey, maybe Christmas Allen comes back wearing shiny shoes.
Oh, God. Okay.
Because he's haunted.
All right, so should we get into our overall feelings on this whole my bed?
Yeah, sure. So when we heard this show announced and just the idea of this show, and we started talking about what kind of went on?
Well, we both kind of thought that Dylan from Bates Motel should play Bruce Wayne.
Well, that was definitely in the air. If they years ahead,
I think you and I were both picturing like a Bruce Wayne that was in his 20s, as opposed to a Bruce Wayne who's still a kid.
I was thinking like an older teen Bruce Wayne, like a 17-year-old.
Right. Having said that, I think going with a kid surprisingly was very beneficial to them, especially because they got lucky that the kid actor for Bruce Wayne is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But no, when I first heard about the show, I got to admit, I definitely was somewhat mixed on it. I mean, I haven't really fully invested myself into a network show, like ABC, Fox, NBC, since the days of like Lost and Heroes. So I've just been watching stuff like from AMC and HBO and stuff like that. So just even getting past the network on it, I was very suspicious. I think television networks like AMC do a much better job with their shorter seasons than these whole like dragged out like 22, 24 episode seasons of TV shows. Having said that, want me to go into overall opinions on the series or just how I felt going in?
Just going in. We'll get to overall thoughts.
Okay, just going in, I was very mixed on it, but the one thing that definitely kind of drew me into it and made me kind of know I was going to watch it was Bullock. I was very intrigued about Bullock because I love him in the animated series, what little I've actually seen of the animated series, next to you.
Hey, we'll get to it soon. Don't worry.
I'm just kidding.
I got a penguin-like master plan. You'll see.
I'm sure you do. Well, you don't know about my penguin-like master plan for college, so we'll see how it all coincides with each other.
We're dueling umbrellas.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. So, I don't know. I was just like, okay, let's see how it works. Like, my opinion was like, okay, Breaking Bad has, like, such good fucking villains that if they could even develop these villains on this show, like a fifth of the way that they've developed Breaking Bad villains, I was all for it. And honestly, I think Penguin definitely kind of hit it over the head. I think they definitely did a good job on Penguin, but I don't know.
It's kind of funny. We even got a Breaking Bad villain on this show.
What?
It's kind of funny. We got a Breaking Bad villain on this first season, remember?
We did, yes.
Mr. Salamanca.
Oh, God. But my expectations were just generally like, okay, I didn't want it to be a police procedural. I wanted it to have more of an overarching story. And in the end, it was kind of a mixed bag, but we'll get into why.
So basically, for me, I'm just going to kind of recap because the initial reaction is, always, my dream has always been like a Jim Gordon-centric something,
And there you go.
So right off the bat, really whatever they would do, as long as Jim Gordon was kind of the lead, I would have been happy with. But seriously, this approach of when they announced a show like Gotham, so not just, when they announced, it wasn't just like GCPD, the show or anything. It was announced a show like Gotham. Gotham's announced, and the instant thought, what I and a lot of diehard fans are instantly thinking are Gotham Central. Gotham Central, essentially, fantastic police drama with instead of your common crooks with guns, you'd have Batman villains like Mr. Freeze kills a guy, and they have it's like awesome premise, like their first story. Mr. Freeze kills a guy, and it's we have this many hours to stop him before nightfall. What happens at nightfall? He gets him. Because he killed a cop. It's like we got to get revenge for this guy before Batman does, and he kind of screws up our thing. It's like we want this guy, not him. Mm-hmm. And of course, the idea there is Batman's like barely in the. He's like you see the silhouette of Batman. That's the most you see of him. So it's primarily the cops, and that's where people fell in love with Renee Montoya since the animated series.
Montoya was another reason why I was excited for this show, ironically.
And like Montoya and Crispus Allen, they were the main characters within that book too. And again,
exactly. Right.
So the point is, they announced a show with Gotham. The only problem with that Gotham Central book was Jim Gordon was not in the book, and that was like the only he's barely, if ever, in that book. Mm-hmm. Well, the point is, everyone's thinking Gotham Central, which would have been the perfect thing in the world. Anyway, so then there's a question of, we don't get Gotham Central per se, because it's one of two things, I think, behind the scenes that no one's really said yet. It's either because, bear in mind, Fox originally owned the 60s Batman show. Now, Warner Brothers has gotten those back so they can put it out on DVD, which is was a great thing. So I'm not sure if there was like a bit of a battle over that, because Fox, basically Warner Bros. And Fox didn't want to tangle that too much, because they already have got one show back, and they don't want to Fox wants to cling on to another Batman related property. I'm not sure how the rights work out. So that might be a reason why they couldn't have Batman in the show. Which again, if you have Batman to some small degree, that you can get Gotham Central. That's the main reason I bring up Gotham Central. The other reason I think we didn't get a Gotham Central type show is probably because that Batman's in a movie right now, and they have this weird they have this stupid fear of like putting characters that are on a show in a movie and people being confused.
I'm not necessarily sure that's that stupid of a fear.
Well, I mean, if like you can, let me see, it's different actors and everything. It's like, it's plus if you had a show with barely any Batman, essentially Supergirl, the show that's going to be on soon, they're doing the exact same thing with Superman that they should have done, that they could have done with the Gotham Central show. Basically, Batman like there like a minute or two. So points like Superman will make like ambiguous Superman appearances, and Supergirl looks like from the trailers. I don't know, it hasn't come out yet. That's in the trailers that he'll be making brief appearances here and there. Point is,
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I kind of feel like Marvel has a better grasp on what they're doing with their TV thing, with their Netflix stuff.
Like they can link it together. The DC shows are in different continuities. That's the difference. Right. So
I don't know. Whatever.
My point is, so we were all expecting Gotham Central, and we didn't get it for some reason we don't know. But what we did get, and again, whether this is intentional or they had to adjust this, which doesn't really matter. Point is, the show they've committed to, Bruno Heller, the Mentalist showrunner, who's taken over the show, along with Danny Cannon, along with some CSI alumni. They've been kind of running this show as well. It looks. They're working on a show that's basically they're working on a show they're committed to. It's about this city. It's about the sense of history and how it changes people, which is kind of like, and what I liked about this premise. I mean, they have committed to. So basically, you got to make peace with the fact it's not going to be Gotham Central. It's going to be a different thing, which is perfectly fine. As long as it's.
I mean, as for me, like I don't really care for those police procedural kind of things. So I think expanding it outside of Gotham Central was a good call for me, at least. Yeah,
but the other thing, though, if it was Gotham Central, they could have had like all the Batman villains appear left and right if they wanted, like fully formed.
Wait, excuse me? What the fuck do you think season 1 was?
No, I mean like fully formed. Like it's not just the origins. Like there's there.
Okay, fine, but I still. If there's one thing about this show, villains do pop up left and right.
They do. They do.
That.
They do, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's a different direction with it.
Okay.
No, that's all I'm saying. Like that was the thing. Again, Mr. Freeze, your one villain from the front. Freeze is a guy right in the police station. So.
Right. So you're saying like instead of having like, the Scarecrow was a little kid and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like you would have Oracle's like a friend. Like there's no Gordon, but there is Oracle in the show. Like she would like yell and leads and stuff. Okay, my point is they're different shows, and the one they've committed to here still sounds interesting because this whole thing is about how the city kind of has this long sense of history and it changes people, which is kind of like, and here's the thing kind of caught my eye for it. It's a lot like what Scott Snyder's view of Gotham is in the comics, and Scott Snyder, one of the best writers in the business right now. And Batman, his view of Gotham is it's like a make or break city. Like, why would people stay in Gotham? Because if you can brave all the horrible stuff in the city, then you're stronger, or it's going to consume you and turn you insane. That's Scott Snyder's view, and this show kind of seems like it's going for that. And point is,
it's trying. It's trying.
Yeah, it's going for that, and it's basically the history ingrained in it from these origins. It's like Gotham started off probably way back in the days, like a clean place, and then of course the mob comes in, kind of constrains it, and then when the crazies come in, they're going to scar it up to pieces. Basically, the premise of this show is it's going to show you how the city was molded into the Gotham Batman will eventually save on a daily basis, which is an interesting premise. So it's different than what everyone was expecting, and again, it's interesting to see like this direction they're going with, like just the origins of like where is the inception of madness essentially? Where does madness come from? That's the idea of the show. It's interesting to see.
And it kind of like
how far can you push people before they break? So I mean, there are a lot of interesting ideas with this show.
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I know I'm breaking up. It kind of fits in with the whole idea of, or it kind of disproves the whole idea that the villain sort of came from Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the line they're towing right now because they can't do
exactly. That is the line they're towing for sure.
That's the weakness. That's the reason. Like it's a little. It's the big difference between this and Gotham Central. Is what I mean. It's like they're towing a line. If they can keep towing that line well enough, they'll be
literally all of Gotham Central's villains directly came out of Batman being in Gotham City.
Exactly. Okay. And again, this show is taking some chances with like the changing elements of mythology, which we see big time with characters like Barbara. It's like it's their own take. it's, again, like we say in the opening, it's a reimagining of Gotham, but still sticking true. And the impressive thing is it's sticking true to the ideas of, like, what makes Gotham is the city that bred Batman, also bred a lot of other stuff, and like what defined the city first, what's going to ultimately define the city. As they say, Jim Gordon believes in, why does he believe in it? And that's what the show is experimenting with, and I thought that was interesting stuff we got in season 1 to explore, and we'll get to more final thoughts on that towards the end.
Sure.
So anyway,
so
I was interested, whatever they do, whatever they really done, as long as Jim Gordon was the lead, I would have been happy with, but I was interested to see where it went, and I think it went to a decent place.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an up and down road, but I think there was more strength than weakness to it overall.
Yes. Overall, yes. I mean, there is a lot more good than there is bad. Again, it's the first season they're treading the waters, but again, we'll say.
And there is bad. I mean, believe us, there is. Oh, there is bad.
So speaking of which, let's go to some. Let's talk about some of the characters. Characters is a big element of the show, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're starting with a couple really good characters, so.
Certainly, yeah. So let's start with one of our main guys.
All right. Well, you want to start with Gordon himself?
Yes, Jim Gordon. So he's played by Ben McKenzie. I gotta tell you, Ben McKenzie, he plays a young Gordon well. You know, he's still
needs that damn mustache.
He needs to earn the mustache. It's like,
and I can relate to you with the mustache thing because I think I've told you this before, but like The Walking Dead, the main villain of The Walking Dead was the governor, and his trademark on the fucking comic book was the mustache. And then the governor in the fucking TV series never gets the mustache. At one point, he grows out a beard, and I'm like, oh, he's going to shave it and then just keep the mustache. But no, he just shaves it all. I'm like, it never happened with just the mustache.
And you know, the thing with the mustache,
I can just relate to being hung up on facial hair.
Yeah, because I mean, Gordon's big thing is in silhouette. He's glasses and mustache. That's his that's his bat ear silhouette essentially. That's what Gordon's big thing is, along with like a plume of smoke occasionally. But nowadays they can't really get away with the plume of smoke.
No, they can't. Right.
Only in the comics they can get away with the plume of smoke. Anyway, so point is, with the mustache, it's kind of a nice visual representation. I've kind of grown to like the no mustache on the early season of Gotham. You know, like at least season 1. That
I'd like to see him like slowly start to grow it out.
That's the thing. I think
kind of like a Walter White evolution facial hair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's the thing. I wonder if they're going to go in the comic. That's the other thing. I don't think they did this intentionally. I really don't. I wonder how much thought they put behind the mustache thing though, because it is kind of a big deal with them.
It is a big deal with Gordon. Yeah, you can't deny it's a big deal with it.
That's the thing. I mean,
part of his look.
I could be reading into it, but I think the visual.
It's like doing Tony Stark without the goatee.
Well, he didn't start out with the goatee, but.
Oh, did he not?
In the comics, he just had the mustache, like his father in Agent Carter.
You're right. I remember that. I apologize. Okay.
Anyway,
that was a poor example.
Anyway, so with Gordon, I might be reading into it, but they could have done is like they're visually trying to say, well, you know, he's not. He's not the character. He's not a fully realized character like the whole premise of all the characters are in the shows. They still need to grow into who they become, which of course would be eventually getting the mustache and the glasses. And
right.
He's not exactly it's not exactly hardened like quite yet by the sea. Because remember the idea.
I don't know if there's no like cheesy fucking accident that makes him like need glasses or something.
No, I don't think so. I think
that'd be really cheesy.
That's
why I'm not a fan of Lex Luthor having hair at the beginning of Batman versus Superman. Because I know they're just going to do some cheesy accident where he loses the hair at the end of the movie.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
We don't know that for sure, but come on, you got to think that's.
I don't know. I think it's wig. I'm betting.
We've seen Eisenberg bald though. That's the thing. We know he's going to be bald.
Yeah, I think
eventually.
I think it's wig though.
What do you mean?
I mean, he's wearing a wig in those scenes.
Oh, you think the hairpiece he's wearing in the trailer is a wig?
Yeah, I think it's still intentionally, like, again, we've mentioned this before, I think he's like intentionally wearing a wig to throw people off, make him think he's something else, and then he really is.
That could be. Okay, anyway.
And my point is, so with that, I mean, like, there was a comic, a really great comic by Dennis O'Neil, one of the godfathers of Batman, essentially. He, I mean, literally, like, essentially, he's kind of like Batman's adopted father in comics, almost.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. He really kind of defined that character before Frank Miller did. Essentially, he did a storyline about Gordon. It's called Gordon of Gotham, and it's about a young Jim Gordon, like learning, at least studying criminology classes, and he's coming back to the city. It's his Chicago days mixing with him, like going to Gotham. So what that is, a young Gordon with no mustache, but he has the glasses. I wonder if they're going to go with glasses over. Wonder which order they're going to go with that.
It'd be cool if we just saw him using reading glasses in season 2.
Yeah, like Bullock has reading glasses, you know.
Right, exactly.
So that's what I think. I think if they're going to do, I think mustache has to be the last thing if they ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, so with that though, so Mackenzie plays a young Gordon well, and of course they are changing some things. Not exactly changing some things out. That brings some interesting elements of Gordon to the forefront here. Of like they're really selling the soldier thing here. So there have been a few interpretations of Gordon where he has military experience. He is a Marine, like in the Snyder comics. Now they're really bringing the Marine idea to the forefront. Now that he's Batman.
Yeah.
Now he's Batman for a time being, and they got rid of the mustache now currently, and I'm still weirded out by it. It's like I see the purpose of it. It's just like because it's an obviously identifying mark for Batman. It's like it's still a little weird though.
I hear you.
But I mean, it makes story sense. It's still a little weird. Anyway, I mean, eventually they make reference to the fact it'll grow back. Don't worry, folks.
Yeah, trust me. As someone with facial hair that grows like frickin' weeds, yeah, damn straight it'll grow back.
Yeah. But with that, there's always a question of like how long has Gordon been away from Gotham? Because the idea is like in year 1 stuff, he returns he transferred from Chicago to Gotham, but he's a Gotham native. So the idea is from Gotham to Chicago and then transfers back because he had an uproar of going after corrupt cops in Chicago. So it was transferred to Gotham.
Right.
But he was born in the city, so the idea it's not an unfamiliar city though. But he has a lot of time in Chicago, so there's always a bit of that around here. In this case,
and of course, Chicago has ties to Gotham itself.
Oh, certainly, exactly. And of course, so they're going with the approach of Gordon. Just the idea is they don't really say in the forefront. There's like only in the first episode if you really pay attention. It's that. Because they keep calling him Soldier Boy, and of course in the Black Mask episode they mention he's been in war, and the idea is he as a young kid he saw Gotham like Bruce Wayne saw it, as like it's this nice place to live, it's a city where a decent guy can get by. That's what his father told me. Remember, he thought his father was like a straight-laced district attorney.
Exactly.
And then the idea is that at some point, we don't know when, like as soon as he's a teenager or something, he goes to war, and since then he's still been on tour and stuff, and he does a heroic act, and now he's going back to Gotham and in the police force.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a newbie at Gotham as a detective, so he has some training. We don't know all the specifics about it. The point is he's been at war, and now he's back in Gotham, so he's used to these really. The clever thing with Gordon's character, what they're kind of selling you on him being kind of the calm, cool, collected character usually is that he has that soldier background, so he's been in chaotic situations and he knows how to keep his cool, otherwise it's death. And of course, coming back to Gotham, a city where things haven't quite sparked up quite yet. When they do spark up, he's going to be the one guy in the city.
It's brilliant that they use the inciting incident as the Wayne murder. I think that was kind of a stroke of really good writing on this show's part. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. Of course, the birth of the downfall of this city, he's there for it.
Exactly. I think that's a really, really smart move.
Exactly. And of course,
we were all skeptical in that first episode when the very first scene was the Wayne murder. We were all kind of turned a collective like, what?
Well, the other scene
really did pay off.
But one of the others, like Gordon's introductory scenes, like he diffuses the situation with that guy. He's like going nuts over not having his pills, and he gives him aspirin, and he talks him down. Of course, the other cops just beat him senseless because he doesn't. Not that he needs it or anything, just beat him senseless because they hate this guy. Not Gordon, but they beat him.
It's better than Bullock threatening to beat that poor kid over explaining the balloons.
Exactly.
I'll never get over that. I will never get over.
Certainly.
Speak up, guy, or I'll beat it out of you. Most unnecessary threat ever.
Yeah, but it's kind of clever. They are working in a little bit of a different angle on Gordon. It's kind of explaining why he is calm, cool, and collected in these situations. Why he is kind of the anchor of sanity in this crazy city.
Sure.
And he. And of course, the big thing Gordon's character we do see in this show definitely is he hates mixing home with work. Of course, he wants to keep those separate. Of course, when he has a family down the line, it's going to be big. He's fighting for that idealized version of Gotham he grew up with. And again, it's very similar to Bruce. Re-examining it, he has a lot of similarities to how Bruce saw the world before his world was taken away from him.
In a way, sure.
In a way, Gordon is going through the same experience Bruce is, but as an older guy, he's learning. The whole season 1 for Gordon is arc. In essence, it's him learning the lay of the land of Gotham, like how the corruption works, how to work it to his advantage so he can try to bring honesty into it. So yeah, it's like him learning that and Bruce learning it at a young age. So they have a very similar arc in that degree, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if there's anything else here. It's essentially going through his arc, like the ending by the end of the season. The ending is it's a glimpse into the future. We see a glimpse at Gotham at its worst with this gang war going on. Like we see Gordon awesomely like shooting the gun at Maroni's henchman. Really cool stuff, really cool action scene. Again, Gordon literally in a war zone like he was. We didn't see established.
And like the Penguin predicted.
Yeah, exactly like the Penguin predicted. But you see what I mean? This is like the idea of the last episode of the season is that it's Gotham during a gang war, which of course is a big thing in regular Batman comics, of people fighting over territory, usually like Penguin, Two-Face, the whole fully realized Black Master all fighting over territories, and it's an absolute chaos and nuts. And this is the first time it's happened in Gotham, essentially, a shake-up this big. And the idea, this is going to be a regular daily occurrence in Gotham down the road when Batman's around. So this is like a glimpse into the future. That's why that last episode really is interesting, rewatching it, And this is Gordon Gordon still being the calming agent, just starting getting a glimpse into that. And Gordon, by this point, has learned the lay of the city, and he just realizes, well, some corrupt guy has to be in charge of this. Like Falcone needs to be in charge here to keep everything calm. And still realizing that's still not enough. There needs to be something more, which of course is Batman. It doesn't exist yet. That's the tragedy of the show. Batman doesn't exist yet, so the best hero we have is Gordon. But it's a lot to take on for one man.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot to take on for Batman, and he's the goddamn Batman.
And again, it makes you feel for Gordon. Gordon still has to reach out. He has to spread the message against all this chaos that, hey, the city is still worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his Gordon's thing in a nutshell. He has to spread the word that there's hope in Gotham. Of course, how hard a job that is.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, that's pretty much Gordon Nuts. Again, Ben McKenzie plays young Gordon well. He gets a little... people have, I guess, criticized it, saying he kind of growls a lot, or like not growls, but he gets a little he likes yelling his lines like gravelly.
I don't think he's like the best performance I've ever seen. I mean, he doesn't blow me away by any means.
I know, but for the first season, I think it's solid, and there's enough subtlety there. It's like you can see him stewing on stuff, and I think season 2 will be a chance for him to push it a little more. But as a first season, it's very solid, I think.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now let's move on to the real highlight of the show.
Oh yeah, so the kind of the pizzazz of the show.
Oh yes, it's Harvey Bullock,
a character who has made his first appearance in live action televised form here.
Of course,
he's never been on screen before.
I think Bullock stole the show from the very fucking first episode, and he never let go. I really do.
Well, that's Bullock done right, because he always is supposed to be that kind of character, that lovable, entertaining character.
Mm-hmm. I think the dynamic between Bullock and Gordon is probably the best thing in the whole show. I think it was beautiful the way that those two evolved and kind of started to bounce off of each other and kind of learn each other's methods for dealing with the situation.
Absolutely.
And just, one-liners. I mean, come on. The Duchess.
Shiny shoes, mother of God. Holy ghost on a bicycle.
The thing I love about Bullock, and I definitely do think he's probably, out of all the characters in the show, out of all of them, hero, villain, whatever, I think he's probably the most three-dimensional and well-rounded out of any of them, I think.
Yes.
And that is probably because he's a mix of like the everyman style comic relief with just the kick-ass action hero, and also he's a total fucking softie underneath it all.
Absolutely.
Which is a lovable combination. So, yeah, I definitely think if it wasn't for Bullock, I probably wouldn't have even watched through the whole first season. I'd be as bold as to say that. Well, if Bullock wasn't done as well as he was here, I probably would have been like, I don't know, dude.
And the thing with Bullock, first of all, it's interesting in this show is that they're really going to focus on this great arc they have. Again, this first season is a great arc between Bullock and Gordon, where Bullock is like Gordon comes in fresh to Gotham essentially. He's kind of like they call him their nickname Soldier Boy, kind of like he's a kid almost. And the idea is
Bullock when we first see him, he's like past that line of corruption. You don't know what to make of him at first, we quickly deduce that he's doing it for survival purposes only. He doesn't want to be corrupt.
Which is interesting, because in the comics, too, Bullock was kind of like, they would always be, he's a little corrupt, but he means well, and eventually he gets won over. Like, Gordon's his mentor in the comics. That's the way it goes. And in the animated series, they just made him what they call soiled, that he's not corrupt, but he does things, doesn't do things by the book.
He's just kind of a jerk, essentially, in the animated series.
Well, you're going to see him become more and more lovable when we get to it.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure.
Anyway, so with Bullock and Gordon's arc, it's kind of interesting. Gordon comes in fresh, and he sees Bullock, and Bullock essentially is what Gordon will become. So it's kind of a reverse on the whole, mentorship thing, even though eventually it will fall back to Bullock being inspired by Gordon, which he is. So from the very beginning, Bullock is like, he's complained to Essen, I can't work with this guy. There's that awesome sequence where it's like Gordon being pushed in on while we hear Bullock like screaming in the background.
Yeah, I mean, on some level, it is kind of that classic sort of like the two partners learn to respect each other sort of dynamic going on.
Yeah.
But it's played so well just because it's through the lens of Gotham City. And I think that's really the strength of the show right there, is kind of the whole, like, we're seeing Gotham City through the eyes of these two men who have very different perspectives on it. Yeah. And like I said, they kind of bounce off of each other, and they kind of learn to adapt to each other's sort of philosophies regarding the city.
It's like Gordon has the morals that Bullock needs, and Bullock has the information on how the city works that Gordon needs.
Right.
That's the thing. And of course, through time, it's just, they become really good buddies. I mean, to the point where Bullock just runs up and just like kisses Gordon on the cheek. Jim!
And of course, we'd be remiss to not mention I'd say the two biggest highlights from Bullock throughout the whole series. I'd say definitely the milkshake bit.
I know.
And then also, I love that bit where he goes to the support group and starts talking about dying alone and everything.
Yeah.
That bit, to me, humanized that guy so much.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he became an even stronger character than he already was after that. I really love it. I really still gravitate towards that moment.
Well, Bullock's always been a good character like that, And again, the arc just being like he becomes closer with Jim over time. By the end, he basically sees Jim as the guy taking all the risk and doing what seems to Bullock to be the dumb thing to do in the city. If you're going to play it straight, you need to be a little corrupt. And he's trying to educate Gordon like how to work a way around the system. But Gordon just won't cross that line. But again, it's interesting. Basically, Bullock concerned about survival, and he takes chances with Gordon and like doing the right thing, even though it's very quite literally hazardous to him.
Right.
So again, it's inspiring that he's getting to that point where he looks up to Gordon, and it's interesting. And he becomes a true friend to Jim no matter what. Like the point where he's saying, "Well, I'm gonna die anyway. I'll do it helping you." Just realize instantly he's the negative guy in the situation. Of course, by the end of the season, we have that great moment where he's like, after Jim takes care of all Maroni's guys, and basically just Bullock just says, "Well, listen, we got to take. I arrested Penguin and Gil Zane, so we got to take them too. I don't even have time to argue with you. Let's just go."
Right.
Just, they make a lovely pair. It's an awesome partnership, and they always get some great lines between the two. They're pals, and they're there for each other. And seeing that progress in season 2, now that they're familiar with each other, it could be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's move on to Bruce and Alfred, because they're kind of like very connected to each other, obviously.
So again, Bruce essentially the actor does such a good job. He's Batman in the making. You can see that every second.
I love the way they're just constantly putting in like, oh, that's going to lead to something in Batman. That's going to lead to a personality trait in Batman. Oh, we just did a bat exit. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. And you see, the big thing about it is it's like what they've kind of said for season 2 is that Bruce, it's like first season he's still not Batman yet, but he's forming the Batman.
He's collecting philosophies that'll help him make the Batman idea.
Yeah, but they said
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the interesting thing they've said about too is that he's going to literally be in Batman mode next season. So it's like not.
Oh God, I think that's too soon.
Well, no. Let me rephrase that. I mean, when they say that, they don't mean costume or anything. They mean he's going to be the next step, which would be like
going around vigilanting.
No, he's not going to be in. It's going to be him playing up the Bruce Wayne persona while he's investigating stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm totally down with him.
That's what I mean.
Bruce Wayne persona.
I'm just saying they've literally phrased it like first season is him just kind of getting to the point of knowing of like going in the direction of Batman. Which
so second season is going to kind of be him more on the dual identity angle.
Yeah, it's him holding dual identity. Basically, it's going to be a Bruce Wayne.
Even if the whole concept of Batman might still be a little ways off, it's still him kind of like coming to grips with like, okay, if I'm going to do this right, I kind of have to become two different people.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea of Bruce Wayne season 2, from what they say, is going to be Bruce with a mission in mind. He's going to have a mission formulated by 2, like what he kind of wants to do, and like obviously fixing the stuff within his parents' company. That's going to be the big thing of season 2 for him.
Sure.
Season 1 is just him figuring out what to do after his parents are dead. So that's basically, him getting the idea, not directly the idea of Batman, but getting the ethics of Batman. Almost.
The spark.
Getting this like the gist of Batman, essentially. Just like we see the dedication and drive kind of shine through, which of course is a quality I really love about Batman. They're really just kind of seeding that through the kid. Of course, the big thing about him hating Selina Kyle, killing the guy, killing Reggie Payne.
Right. That was definitely a big moment.
And then you root for this kid, you really do.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you root for him to get justice, and of course that's kind of a big thing. And some people criticize about season 1 is that of course the Wayne murder, but again, it seems to be the Wayne murder's connecting to a bigger thing.
I don't think we're done with the Wayne murder yet.
Oh, we're not, right? Because you got to remember the Wayne murder connects to all the shady stuff going on at Wayne Enterprises, so there's something connected to that. Of course. So, again, we're still.
And I also don't really mind the fact that it wasn't resolved in season 1 because it was kind of the big crux of the whole show. So it'd be like if they answered completely like, oh, hey guys, here's what's in the hatch at the end of season 1 of Lost instead of making us wait until season 2. I know you don't get that reference, but
it's interesting. It's a Bruce Wayne who wants to do more, but he's working through limitations. He's such as he's not experienced enough. Again, so Selina Kyle still has to show him the ropes and everything, and Alfred, of course, will also have to show him some ropes. And speaking of
Alfred is, I think he's probably the best adaptation of a character on this show. With the exception of maybe the Penguin. Because the Penguin definitely, you got to admit, the Penguin breathed new life into that character.
Yeah, the Penguin was fascinating. It really was.
But Alfred, I feel like they changed him up just enough to make him an interesting character and different from the Michael Caine version. And have his own layers beyond just like, oh, I brought you supper, Master Bruce.
Yeah, it seems that's the direction Alfred's been going for a while now. That they're pushing him outside the classic Alfred mold.
Right, which I really like right from the get-go.
Like Earth 1, essentially, they make him into a Sean Connery kind of action hero type Alfred, who's like.
And I feel like that's kind of what they're echoing here as well.
That's what they've done in Beware the Batman, and that's what they've done here. Like they make him like.
Beware the Batman is probably the most famous example, yeah.
Exactly, but again, it's always kind of pushing from the Earth 1 models. Earth 1 was kind of the one that kind of defined the change in Alfred, then moving on to Beware the Batman, then this, and of course, from what I've heard recently, Jeremy Irons, he has like a kind of an Alfred that can essentially he's going to make you believe that he can do anything. Sort of.
I mean, come on, he's fucking Jeremy Irons, so yeah, I totally believe that.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like he's going to embody the quality. From what he says, trying to embody the qualities of Alfred. That's like Alfred. He can't do anything, kind of like how Batman can do anything. So he's going to be awesome in that, right? He's not going to be.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Basically, you're going to believe this guy can do a lot more than he appears that he can do.
You know what? One of the really good things about this Alfred in Gotham is, though.
Yeah.
The fact that he's imperfect as a.
Absolutely.
I feel like they really nailed that part down. Like they really nailed the whole element of like, holy shit, this kid's parents are dead.
You gotta remember,
nobody besides me, and I have no idea what to do in this situation.
And of course, he's he cares about this kid, but he's also he serves this kid, so he has to do what he says. So again, he can only do his best to guide him as much as he can without contradicting him, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And season 2, from what I've heard, and we'll get into it soon enough.
A conflict, perhaps.
Yeah, a conflict with Bruce Wayne again becoming
conflict with Master B.
Yeah, that's the idea is that Bruce Wayne will become more of a, again, kind of like Batman, that he says he's dead set on a mission, which means if you're not on board, you're out of Bruce's purview. Like, he doesn't care. So if Alfred really wants to stop Bruce, it doesn't look like there's going to be much. If he wants to stop Bruce, he's going to tell Alfred to get out, it sounds like.
And then, of course, we had Reggie kind of come in as a side, kind of like a good example of Alfred's past, which really was a good way to shine some more light on the character.
Alfred's always had some military experience. Always they kind of shift like what kind of stuff it was. Like, usually it's more non-violent type jobs. But now it's being more like he was in combat, definitely. Like he was shooting machine guns. He was a spy. He was
right.
So many different angles with Alfred.
Yeah, but season 2, I'm going to be interested to see like the bond between Bruce and Alfred wasn't really there at the start, but that was intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Alfred was getting on board with the police, trying to. It's interesting. Season 1, Alfred essentially is. He's showing him, look, you don't have to. Like, bear in mind, Bruce doesn't have a mission in mind. His only mission right now is figuring out who killed his parents.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Then, of course, it kind of devolves a little bit. Not devolves. It kind of expands a little bit to find out what's wrong with his company that most likely has connection to his parents' murder. That's really his only mission in mind. And Alfred's just trying to say, leave it to the police. Live your life. Be a kid. He's trying to talk him out of like falling down the rabbit hole. And of course, season 2, if it looks just the end of season 1, bridging to season 2, it would seem that there's no talking him out of it now. Like there's a big thing going on here, and how is he going to deal with this kid just now completely dead set on something? How is he get? Alfred's completely if he thought he was ill-equipped just to raise a kid, now he's ill-equipped to raise a kid who thinks he's essentially, in essence, a soldier in a war that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see like Alfred basically ill-equipped in another situation, is compounding on the situation he just got a grasp on by the end of season 1. Like I can connect with this kid. He and I have been through some traumatic experiences, like me getting stabbed and almost bleeding to death. We know each other, we like each other here, but still, now this is a whole different ball game.
Exactly. It's
gonna be interesting to see. So let's see, Selena Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm still very mixed on how I feel about Selena.
Really? Okay, look, I'll admit I don't know why I was defending it. To be honest, I'm not sure why I was defending it, but the way the ending with her, it still feels me it's a power.
No, it's not really just the ending that bothers me.
That's to me the only thing that really bothers me. There is the.
I don't necessarily think she's the greatest actress, at least compared to the kid who plays Bruce Wayne.
Well, I disagree with
it.
I disagree with that.
I don't know. She definitely fits the role. I guess my whole issue with the character is that she felt kind of repetitive in a way.
Like how so?
Like every time it would just be her and Bruce Wayne, and she'd just be like, "Oh, Bruce, you're stupid. You need to learn some street smarts." Blah 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 blah.
I'm thinking it's kind of like, this might be an interesting comparison. It's kind of like Helga if she meant her kind of her attitude at times. So basically, remember when she like fakes being mean to Arnold at times? Mm-hmm. What if that was like just kind of like a genuine thing, where she just instantly snapped into that? Like she's good underneath, but when she needs to keep up an appearance, what if Selena just felt that way?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is for me. I just think the character, like, I understand that Selena Kyle is someone who flips between sides. That's kind of who she is, but it felt really forced the way that they did it in this first season.
Well, again, I think the actress did a great job with it. I thought. The point is, I think she communicates kind of what the character is here. That she's very clever and she means well, but she means well being. She's got a really tough life. She's really street tough.
It's an interesting idea with the character. It's definitely an interesting way to go with it.
Of course, the really interesting thing towards the end that they kind of see it in there again. The thing we mentioned is really interesting. The way they did is that. We see that she is, having grown up on the street and becoming street tough. She's willing to do what it takes if it comes down to her or someone else. And that's, of course, that's what Catwoman boils down to at her core. Because remember, she kills Reggie Payne, and she pushes him out the window. Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting thing. Of course, that's true to her character. She's willing to go for herself no matter what it takes. And of course, you look at Dark Knight Rises. She's willing to. She'll save her own skin before she saves Batman's skin if it comes down to it.
Exactly.
And yet at the same time, she likes Bruce, and but she also likes stealing stuff. That's the thing. That's her character. You know, she likes Bruce, and she might like to settle down, but at the same time, she likes stealing stuff, and that's what she's used to. That's the lifestyle she's used to. She can't exactly be domesticated, which Bruce is trying to do. Bruce tries to kind of domesticate her in a way. Tries to, hey, listen, I give you all the opportunities you like. You know, I mean, look, I'm friends with you. Stay in my mansion. It'll be fine. You know, I'll get you a good life. He says, well, I don't know if I want that life. I'm accustomed to a different sort of thing. Tiki, you there? Oy. Sorry, folks. Tiki seems to be frozen today. He'll be back in a minute. So let's see. So again, folks, that's Gotham coming on Mondays. There it is back. So there's pretty much wrapped up on Slinka. Anything else you'll say? But again, like the way they ended with her is again she took a side, which makes sense that she would take a side where it's advantage to her. But maybe there are stronger people she could have taken over Fishman. That's the thing. That's where it kind of loses.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It makes sense that she would like pick a bad side over a good side if it's advantage. Like Bane again, so she kind of went to Bane's side because it was an advantage. But long run with Fishman, it's not. I mean, she's just freshly coming back to the city. I mean, I think she just likes her because she's a strong woman in charge.
A strong, independent woman.
That's the thing. That's where it loses steam, And again, more so I remember more so with this. I hated the look on Fish Mooney and Selena Kyle and that stupid look she was sporting.
Yes.
That was
pretty
dumb.
bad.
That was really dumb to me.
That was really bad. Really bad.
That was the worst. I mean, as much as I hate Barbara, I still do hate Barbara. I'm saying visually, if I could epitomize my feelings for Barbara in a visual look, it'd have to be that. It's like, oh my god, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, we're kind of running a little low on time, so let's kind of speed through some of these villains.
Okay,
Penguin. Well, I mean, I think we said a lot about Penguin already.
Sure.
I mean, he's just
a legend in the making.
Exactly. Like fantastic arc. Really kind of. He stole the show on the villain side. I don't think anyone was expecting him to be as good as he was, and like I said, just his story just was so intriguing throughout the whole season. You never really knew what he was going to do. It was very much kind of like. I want to say Penguin was almost a little bit of a Walter White style story.
Yeah, it's like he embodied the American dream almost. Because remember, he's an immigrant from another country. We don't know where, but he's an immigrant. With Mrs. Kobupot, we got that. And we see he's willing to do what you see, he's making a name for himself, and he'll kill for a sandwich, shoes, a tip if he has to.
Oh my god!
Literally kill the guy.
I wish they would have kept that running joke up the whole season somehow.
Well, they did kind of. Remember, he killed the guy for a tip almost. Remember, like it says, "I'll tell Don Maroney myself stabs him with the glass when his mother's in the other room." So we see, Penguin is very calculating. Yet here's the interesting thing: as calculating as Penguin is, he's still in the beginning of it. He's still in his adolescence here. He's a young guy who, he's prone to an ego. He makes mistakes because of that. He kind of is a little overconfident, and of course, again, he stands up and says, "I'm the king of Gotham." He could have easily fallen down.
Some of my favorite moments in the whole series are when him and Maroney are at it with each other.
Oh yeah.
I mean, of course, the iconic moment where he's in the car about to be crushed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on to Nigma.
Nigma. All right. Yeah, not much to say about him. I think he definitely served his purpose well as kind of like, oh, he's the quirky one-liner guy at the police department. Do McGill.
Very, very intelligent, very antisocial.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the interesting thing I think we grabbed onto is like he takes a liking to Gordon and Bullock, and especially Gordon. And Gordon is kind of like, in a way, I'm stretching what I'm saying, so he kind of like sees him almost like an older brother almost.
Yeah, you're right. It's like that whole thing with him and Gordon Bullock. It's like there's not really a ton of screen time or even dialogue devoted to it. It's all really in the mannerisms of the three characters when they're around each other.
And that's the big thing with Nigma's character on the whole, with like just the mannerisms that you can you can imagine like. Anytime like someone just like doesn't give him the credit he deserves, like he's bursting on the inside of anger and like that incompetent buffoon, he's fuming with anger. He's like twist of that. I think from what I hear, that's something that's going to be explored in season 2. That Riddler's other side is really going to come out, like that ego-driven side of his.
Right.
And of course, he hates jocks and Neanderthals, and he really has eyes for Kringle. And this is interesting. There's a great Batman comic where it kind of explores enigmas. There's this great issue, I think they could bridge this into season 2, is that Riddler was going after a girl in an issue, and he was fascinated with the puzzle, the enigma of a woman, but the minute he got her, he was bored with her.
Oh, boy.
But he was fascinated with the riddle of getting her, though.
Right, I can see that, yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing I can see for Kringle, because, again, it seems like he's interested in Kringle, and Kringle might take a liking to how intelligent he is. And, of course, we'll see. She likes the bad boys, it seems. So, again, Enigma becoming a killer. Seriously, she likes the bad boys.
She does like
So, it's like... and, of course, the biggest interesting thing with his arc is that the city, again... I don't know how we're going to approach the whole who killed the Waynes. Eventually, one day we'll see what the deal with that is. But I'd like to think, had it just been a random crime, again, it could be. I don't know how they're going to. I mean, it's orchestrated somewhat, but I think the underlying idea, regardless of the whole series, is that the city brings out violent actions. It brings out the violence in people because of that desperation and that kind of do whatever it takes attitude. And in a way, this was Enigma's, again, it brought out the violent action Enigma, which is like his baptism in the crime almost, of him killing Doris. And that leaving his first clue, and it doesn't go well, which is going to lead to trouble.
No, it does not go well.
But you see what I mean, though? It's like he's like baptized as a villain almost by killing that guy and being compelled to leave a clue. So that was his villain modus operandi, and he's so proud of himself. And then it's just the fact that it didn't go off the way he expected. He wants to, like a serial killer, he's going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it until he gets it right.
It's a really good build-up because throughout most of the season, he's pretty damn likable.
So, I mean, if they do it right, he could be kind of a Norman Bates character, if they do it right. Seriously, and if they pull right, the guy you're kind of rooting for, but of course, has a big dark side.
Of course. So
let's see. So Fish Mooney.
Fish Mooney is a very underrated character in my eyes.
Yes,
I think everyone kind of shit on her because she wasn't a comic character.
Well, I don't know. It was just because they thought she was a little too big, but I think that was the point, though. I think it's she's an exaggeration. She represents how close the mob is to going mad. She turns on a dime. That's the idea.
Exactly. Like she was kind of like the origin of like one of those crazy over the top Gotham villains. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like the idea of you have old school guys like Maroni and Falcone, and Fish comes by and she turns the scales. Yeah,
she's just kind of batshit.
At the end of the day, she and Penguin turn the scales because they bring madness into the city, madness into the system, which just turns everything topsy-turvy, which we're going to see the aftermath of in season 2. She has this manipulative ability, though. That's her strength. Like she makes things really personal with people.
I just feel like throughout the whole first season, a little inconsistent. With the whole what she does to Gordon Bullock in the first episode, and then treating them pretty fairly after that.
Well, that's a terrifying thing. She just turns on a dime. It's so creepy the way she just kind of she cares for Butch. Like, she has a loyalty among thieves to a degree. Like, remember, she sees Penguin as her son, and she sees Liza as her daughter, and Butch Butch is her boy.
Yeah, and she has the whole thing of everyone calling her Mama.
Exactly. And of course, the whole thing, she has mother issues, who her mother is still alive, but she's, it's really creepy. Again, she has and I'll tell you why. It's interesting, because when I was thinking about these characters, I was really reminded of one of Penguin's best lines from the first season. It's something along the lines of, your love is your weakness. Like, what you love most is your weakness. So remember, he's talking to Frankie Carbone when he kills him. I remember he mentions
right.
Because you're cheap, you're cheap and you're flint-skinned, and you love money, and your love is your undoing. And of course, Fish Mooney, when she gets her emotions involved, that's what kills her in the end. She has that moment where she's consoling Butch, and that's when Penguin does away with her. Her emotions were her undoing. Her emotions were always her undoing, and that's kind of an interesting thing. So speaking of which, Gilzane, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, just not a ton to say about Gilzean, except you called it right from the very jump. He was an awesome fucking henchman.
Again, just the idea that he just, while they're beating the crap out of Penguin, he's saying hi to Gordon. He says, "Oh, hello, James. How are you liking the city so far?" The minute he said that, I was thinking, man, that is a neat henchman. I want to know more about that guy. And I was so happy.
And we did.
And I was so happy he didn't get killed in the first episode because it was looking like he could have easily gotten killed.
He could have easily gotten killed a lot of times from.
Yeah, and that by the point where gets shot in the leg by Zaz, I was thinking, "Oh, Gilzean, no!" Thankfully, he's okay. Again, the brainwashing thing was a little weird. Apparently, he did actually get brainwashed, but he acted really.
It's wonky.
That's
really
the thing.
Wonky.
I mean, technically, he was brainwashed because he had the whole little "who do I shoot" moments.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see.
But they kind of just wrote that in at the very end, though. That was my issue with it.
That's what it's like they kind of forget about it. It's like the adjustment. They didn't explain the adjustment too well. That's the thing.
Sure.
They just explained it a little bit more, like how it could adjust so well. But I don't know. They say he'll do whatever Penguin says. I don't know. But the point is, Gilzean will be in season 2, and it'll be interesting to see the aftermath of this. Like how much they're going to. I mean, assumingly, no Falcone, no brainwash.
Yeah, I do think some of my favorite moments with Gilzean were when he was sitting around just watching Oswald fail at running the bar.
Yes.
And he cares so deeply about that, me and Fish, we put blood, sweat, and tears into this place,
That's the thing. He shows great loyalty and business skills. I mean, I would love it if Gilzean became one of the mob forces in the next season. I really would, because I think
that would be pretty good.
And then basically, what if he did? Oh, what if this would be great? Because they said someone's going to try to usurp Penguin's power, and it could be a few people. And if Gilzean's one of them, the thing about he has the motivation for it.
Gilzean has all the motivation in the world to kill Penguin at this point. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, come on. You made me. Essentially, you led to Fish Mooney's death, and I had a big part of that. I'm going to see you. I'm going to bring you down. Essentially, I'm going to become the next Gotham. Screw you, bird boy. Again, Gilzean
push you off of that ledge right there. You're really lucky.
Essentially, he's a useful asset, and he's. And again, love was Gilzean's undoing also, because again, that distraction, Fish Mooney, then off the ledge.
Sure.
But again, it's also there's that great thing where he's talking to his old buddy who offered him essentially a mob position, and he shot him because he had compassion for Fish, and again, his undoing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay.
Moving forward, Falcone.
Falcone, just a great presence in the episodes he is in. It's a good thing that he was not in all the episodes, because when he does show up, it's a big deal.
Yes, the actor was.
I think they spaced him out perfectly. We got the perfect amount of Falcone.
Absolutely.
I honestly think Falcone is what Linderman should have been on Heroes. Because Linderman, they just kind of tease out the whole time, and then he appears for like 2 episodes, and then he's dead, and it's just like, what? I'm sorry, spoilers for Heroes people that haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, I mean, you should have with Falcone is always. I mean, he kind of gets easily dispatched with in the Batman and the Nolan Batman movies, but in really, Falcone is a big mainstay character. Again, he's responsible for Harvey. Essentially, he's responsible for Harvey Dent in a way, because Harvey Dent was going after Falcone.
Exactly.
No, Maroni was the one who did the thing to Harvey Dent, but I mean, Falcone was kind of the big leading cause to it all.
And I just think, I don't know, I just think Falcone in the series, like, I just love all his motifs that they had going with him, like the chickens and everything like that.
Absolutely. I mean, Falcone was, again, from Falcone's inception, he's the Vito Corleone. That was in the comics, he looks a lot like Vito Corleone. That's the presence you want with him. I think they succeed in giving a Godfather-like presence with him.
Of course, the awesome way in which they bookend the series with
absolutely
Gordon and him talking.
Absolutely one of my favorite bits in the whole series. Like him talking with Gordon, of course, absolutely, that bookends. Of course, I love it was such an interesting notion of having ties to Gordon's father, which again, Gordon's father being a notion I never have heard of or thought of in my entire history of that character.
That's kind of funny, but
no, I mean, they never really mentioned Gordon's home life, like before.
Right.
They never mentioned it. So I mean, Gordon's father being a DA and of course having ties to corruption. That, of course, like the idea that Falcone was good friends with Gordon's father. Like his father was an honorable man, but a good friend is like a knife.
Sure.
Of course, that handoff too. I mean, it's good stuff. Basically, corruption is a necessity, and Falcone doesn't necessarily. Corruption is necessary to keep order. He's trying to impart that on Gordon. And it's a fascinating thing.
It's like a mentor / villain dynamic.
Exactly.
You know?
Of course, first episode, young guy coming into the city, he doesn't know the rules, talking to the guy who made the rules.
Right.
And with that, Falcone, just like it's interesting, his arc is really fantastic in the show with the whole Liza thing, because we see Falcone, and of course the whole thing, Fish Mooney says, we could take him down now because he's getting old and weak and fat. And and here, man, I'm gonna kill that old man with my bare hands and my teeth.
Something that we never saw come to fruition.
No, it might have just been a line. I think we put too much importance on that one with the grand scheme.
I'm sorry, I just love the visual image of her doing that, though.
Just did the creepy thing with the eye. I think that was enough.
I'm using my teeth. I'm using it to kill you.
Anyway, so really, there's this great bit in that episode where like he's contemplating retirement. So that you see the city has really worn down Falcone. It's after all these years of being controlled, making the rules and everything. So he wants out until it attracts him again with like the surprises of Liza. Liza and Fish, that whole thing, that like it was a surprise. It energized him, gave him a reason for being. It says the city needs me. If these incompetent people are trying to usurp my power by doing unclassy things, I gotta restore order in this city. That's why he's full force. And of course, by the end, I think I love the payoff of this. So again, preparing for that scene with him and Gordon at the end is that the city has gone in a direction of madness. There are no rules. Falcone's used to it. Again, Falcone made the rules with Maroni. They have those scenes where they're talking to each other and they're exchanging pleasantries. Now all that's gone because of Fish Mooney. It's just chaos. Exactly. And the idea is he can't deal with that world anymore. That's why he wants out. He says, look,
sure.
It's like, I can't I can't earn respect from a new generation of crazy. I can't do that. And that's why he tells Gordon, maybe he needs a lawman. Again, maybe it's my time is gone, so now it's in the hands of a lawman, someone who's trying to strive for order genuinely instead of seeing it as a necessity. Falcone was so fascinating this first season. It really was.
On the flip side of the coin, we have a guy that I wouldn't necessarily say is fascinating.
But he's very fun.
My God, was he fucking entertaining. Oh, God.
He wasn't as complex as Falcone, but he was really fun.
No. But this guy was a treasure trove of entertainment.
Basically, if Falcone is the Vito Corleone, then Maroni is the Tony Montana.
Yes. Oh, God. First of all, David Zayas. I mean, I was excited about him just because, like, hey, it's someone I know. But I gotta tell you, I mean, we can go on debates about this. I don't think the Angel Batista character is necessarily the most well-written or compelling. I actually kind of make fun of him a little bit. But, oh my God, did he turn it around and deliver a hell of a performance.
He was a lot. I mean, he surprised me how good he was. He really did. I mean, he was fantastic.
I mean, he fit into the role like a glove for one. Just became just this classic. I think the great thing with him is that Falcone is kind of like the thoughtful interpretation of a mobster. You know what I mean?
Yes. And
Maroni is like the cartoon character version of a mobster.
It's like the idea is Falcone is like a genuine, like he's all brains and business. He's the business side of things, and Maroni's the family side of things and the pleasantries.
Sure.
That's where it boils down to. Falcone is like completely business. So he's the Walter White approach of business. Where Maroni is the Tuco side almost. If like you give respect, you get respect.
It is Tuco, yeah.
And
what do you think of the decision to kill him off at the end of the season?
That I think is in the grand scheme.
You're not down for that.
Now that I have time to think about it, because Maroni, it shows you the show is changing things in the continuity. It's like Maroni, of course.
And then throughout season 1, we were all kind of a little bit on edge for when they were going to first kill off the first comic character.
Yeah, I was completely. Again, I didn't going through it. I did not expect it at all because I thought, well, how can he kill Maroni? He's supposed to scar Two-Face.
I thought it'd be one of the two mob guys.
Well, Falcone would have been it because in the comics he does die at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they go back and forth from their death sometimes. I mean, Falcone died at some, and like in like the one-off story he died, but then the continuity is there. It's confusing. Point is. My point is with Maroni, though, is I didn't see it coming because he has such an important role in comics.
I'm gonna miss him in season 2. I am genuinely gonna miss him.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Had they known they're coming back for 2, which they didn't know until a little bit into the game, Like they were just surprised.
I think they knew pretty early on. I mean, this was a show that was pretty much destined to ratings hit, no matter how bad or good it was.
Well, remember, I mean, there was a point there was 16 episodes. Then it was expanded to 22. And I'm saying from that 16 range, they probably didn't know.
That's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like 16 range, they were just thinking probably maybe one season, perhaps at least a test season.
16 range, they were just kind of like getting the character started at that point.
Yeah. The point is just the decision to kill Maroni. Though I think in hindsight they would have changed their minds on that because Maroni's such an entertaining character. He's kind of important, but I mean they could always turn Two-Face into a different character. I mean, not different character, but do it differently than they usually do.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, of course, Dark Knight's a deviation from it, an animated series.
Oh, I love fucking Dark Knight Two-Face. I think Dark Knight Two-Face is incredibly underrated.
No, I'm just saying I like it. I'm just saying the way he's scarred is different. It's different each in various interpretations. I'm saying the classic interpretation is the acid, which again.
See how I got my scars.
Funny, but no. But in all seriousness, though, it's like you don't need to do it exactly like the thing, though. And the idea is, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see what they do with like a world without Maroni, because the idea is they're tearing down the old mob system, they're building something new, completely unexpected. And I guess Maroni, for that purpose, he had to go. But he was a classic mobster, all about favoritism. If you made him laugh, he'd like you. If you didn't, he'd kick you.
Exactly.
Well, actually, he feed you to seafood. Actually, he turned you into seafood. Actually, remember?
Yes.
Again, one of my favorite scenes in the first season. I love it when my favorite Maroni scene. It's him, the Penguin, and Gordon. He offers Gordon water. That's my favorite. Me and that Nick Ford bit.
God damn it, BlueDragonFive! We need to have a soundboard, and we need to have pleasantries, Dylan, on that.
I'll see what I can do for season 2. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Pleasantries, Dylan.
I'll think.
It just seems like that quote just keeps coming up. It'd be great to have the real quote.
I'll think about it. Or I'll work on it.
Okay.
But you see what I mean there? Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but again, his mentality and his emotions again were his undoing ultimately.
Exactly.
Again, he just couldn't keep his mouth shut. He just had to be.
Oh my God! Yeah, he really couldn't.
That was my problem. That's why the death really bothered me because
it was stupid. Yeah, you're right. It was stupid.
It's one thing to kill him off because again, someone had to die. There had to be there had to be a cost of it all, and there had to be something to change the power structure. I mean, over such a stupid reason, though. That's what bugs me. When you think about it, it's like they just couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Like when you think about it, it's like they had this awesome character who's played by a great actor and who really just lights up the screen. And then they kill him over something that's just ridiculous.
I mean, he had
minuscule.
Like if they were going to kill him off, I was hoping it was going to be like Penguin fulfilling his promise. That's what I was hoping it was going to be if he was going to die.
Right, that's what it should have been.
Like even so, if it was going to be him shooting his mouth off, it should have been him like mouthing off to the Penguin, then Penguin killing him because like insulting his mother or something. Or again, maybe he killed his mother and then he killed
insulting his mother would have been great. That would have been a fucking perfect way to round out both of their character arcs,
either insulting his mother or killing his mother. Then
because don't forget that the reason why Maroni was drawn to the Penguin in the first place was because of the respect of his mother.
And he was even flirting with his mother too, which would make it.
Oh my God, yes, which is a moment I fucking love. I think you're a little more mixed on.
Yeah, that's what I'm. What? No,
the moment with the mother.
No, I thought it was a good moment.
Okay.
I don't remember not liking that. Anyway, so
for some reason I thought you had problems with it.
I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe it's been a while. Anyway, so yeah, it's such a random thing. Why all of a sudden is this whole babe thing coming to the fray, like calling fish babe? It comes out of nowhere and it's stupid.
It's like a Marty McFly chicken thing.
It's like, again, bear in mind, the chicken thing they wanted to put in the first movie, but in hindsight, they wanted to put in the first movie.
Right.
Anyway, so real quick, I'll just say, Commissioner Loeb and Flash, good characters. I love Peter Scolari as Commissioner Loeb, and he's a great kind of, essentially, he's almost Gordon's Joker, almost.
Exactly.
The idea is he's Gordon's arch enemy. Again, Penguin's kind of debatable as being his arch enemy. I mean, he kind of is for this show.
For this show, I'd say for this show, yes.
Okay, it's kind of like
the Penguin is his Joker.
If I'm remembering correctly, what I said during our season discussion, I think I laid it out like if Penguin's Gordon's Joker for this show, then Commissioner Loeb, in a weird way, is his Ra's al Ghul.
I could see that.
Because again, he's going to eventually, Rachel Gould always offering Batman his role as the demon's head, and of course, Commissioner Loeb. Gordon ultimately has to defeat Commissioner Loeb to become commissioner in the grand scheme. So he is kind of his Ra's al Ghul, which I think is an awesome idea. Okay. So the point is, I really love when Commissioner Loeb and Gordon have a scene together. It's one of my favorite parts of the show. Anyway, so then let's get to the last one.
Oh boy, do I have a sound effect enough for Barbara? I don't think I. Maybe
do you have like someone screaming in pain?
No.
You have the Wilhelm scream.
Crickets does not. No, Crickets does not do it justice.
Oh, it doesn't. Do you have? Give me the Inception bump, would you, Barbara? That fits. That's okay.
I feel like that's almost too light for her.
Yeah, no, I think the Inception boom is like we're talking about the worst part of the show.
Oh boy, like, okay, get ready. Here it comes.
Okay, so, oh jeez, where to start? Let's just say she's a huge weirdo.
I know where to start. Me. Can I go?
Oh jeez. Okay, you can go.
You were defending this character in the first episode, and I will never let you live that down.
Okay, let me tell you why.
Oh, Tiki, I don't know. She's very attractive. She's a very attractive woman.
No, I didn't say it like
it's
that.
Not that she's not, but I just find it funny in retrospect that if you go back and listen to our first podcast, you're being very easy on her.
Let me tell you why, okay? Let me just, for this, because we're going to season 2, things can change with that whole thing, so we don't have to bring it up in season 2 all the time.
Dude, I'm going to haunt you with that. Trust me. If you can haunt me about getting the hero thing down in the aforementioned show, then I can haunt you about this.
Okay, let me just tell you why, maybe to clarify it, all right? What I exactly said. I didn't say it like that. I said something similar to that.
I said, oh man, she's a really attractive woman. I can see why Gordon would go for her.
Said something similar to that. Let me explain why, real quick. Okay. Look, I said it because in a show like this, it's a practical thing. Of they have a lot of characters to go for. Again, we had Christopher Salem and René Montoya, who we did nothing with. So the idea at that time was like maybe there's a lot of plot lines. So first few episodes, the first 3 episodes at the very least, are the kind of the hope period of Barbara. And in there,
it went downhill pretty quick.
I know. Basically, after 2 is really looking like we were going to lose hope. 3 was like the last chance we gave her, and then it just completely. But what I'm saying is, you have to give. I'm saying because female characters in this day and age are really hard to nail down until we get fantastic shows like Daredevil or even the female characters in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are really good too. But I'm saying the majority of the DC shows, oddly enough, they have really terrible female characters.
Yeah,
lead characters. And with the exception of Fish and Selena Kyle and Leslie Tompkins in the show, Barbara is that character. And until we realized how bad she was, is figuring they have the girlfriend character at this role. She doesn't have a lot to do, so we can't really judge her at this point. So she's eye candy really in the first 3 episodes. That's what I meant. She's like the eye candy.
All right, fair enough.
Until they give her stuff, which unfortunately they never did. So.
And then they give her plenty to work with. They give her plenty to work with.
No, Tiki, they give her
more than the typical girlfriend character in a show like this would get.
No, Tiki, they gave her plenty of crap.
No, that's what I'm saying. She goes through a ton of shit this season.
She
goes through a ridiculous amount of story this season. It's all bad. Literally every single step of the way is bad.
Absolutely. You see what I mean? Those first 3 were just we had no idea how she was going to be. So it's because she's just there and we don't have time for her yet.
And then of course I think the thing that really broke us, and this was not even this was almost probably.
I know what my angry point was. Do you remember?
Oh, I know what your angry point was.
Oh, I remember mine.
Before that, even though, I think just her walking out on him to begin with was just shit. It was just lazy writing. It was lazy drama. It made you hate the character. And then, they pulled the Montoya thing, which is...
Oh, the Montoya thing!
It was the worst moment in the whole show. It was the worst moment in all of season 1. I will totally attest to that.
They could have ended it at the Bruce and Selena bit, but then they had to do that.
And then they go on, and she's corrupting Ivy and Selena.
She's
acting all jealous, and She's acting all jealous and petty, even though she's the one that left Gordon.
You're jealous. Bruce Wayne comes to the door to take Selina out. She's jealous that Selina has a date.
Oh God, I fucking forgot about that. Oh my God.
She's okay. I actually wrote down a slew of insults first. Let me get through these.
Okay.
She's okay. I wrote this in order. Let's go through this as angry and quickly. She's whiny. She's just a socialite that wants in but can't. She wants into Gordon's life, but she can't handle it. She's hypocritical. She's jealous. She can't follow simple instructions like "don't go to the mobster's house." She's deceitful.
The monster's house.
Don't you? Oh, she's deceitful. She's a murderer, and she's crazy.
She killed her own parents over pretty much nothing.
She's the anti-Bruce Wayne right off the bat. She's literally the anti-Bruce Wayne. If the kid is like one of the best, think about it. If the kid is one of the best features of the show, again, barring Bullock out of the equation, if the kid's one of the best characters in the show, then the antithesis of that, the literal antithesis, female, older, she's literally every scene she's in detracts from the show. And
the one difference between you and me is that halfway into it, I started getting like really into it in terms of like the room style. Like, oh my God, what terrible shit is Barbara going to be into now?
The only thing,
to the point where BlueDragonFive secretly, I never told you this, but secretly, every time there was an episode with no Barbara, I was slightly disappointed. I was slightly disappointed because I was like, oh man, we're not going to get a Barbara rent.
You masochist, you. Anyway.
No, obviously I hit that point and you didn't. I hit the point where I was like, okay, it's obvious this character, there's nothing left to salvage here, and they're just doing such a crazy job destroying the character that I'm kind of intrigued by it. I think around the time she started living with Selina and Ivy, that was the time where I was like, okay, like I'm down for this batshit crazy, terrible human being, Barbara.
Yeah, well, look, overall, you get two things. One, she's a waste of a character, which I kind of said with all those statements beforehand. She is absolutely a waste of a character. She wastes screen time. It's like, get rid of her. We could have had maybe fix some of the other issues with the show,
Giving Harvey Dent an actual character.
And of course, getting rid of her in general would have. Yeah, exactly. All that Barbara stuff could have gone to Harvey Dent.
You're right.
And
exactly.
Importantly, Christmas Allen.
Oh God.
Seriously.
Or Montoya, either or.
Well, again, no Barbara. Montoya could have been good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Well, then again, Montoya was the second worst of them. But then again, Montoya, at least she got out.
She was nowhere near as bad as Barbara was, though.
But it's interesting looking back at it, because before Barbara became a problem, Montoya was the Barbara for a while.
That's true. She was the problem for a while. That's very true.
Then basically Montoya disappeared, and then Barbara just.
Who's to say that Barbara didn't just flat out murder both Alan and Montoya?
I wish Alan would have shot her though. Anyway, so look, by the end with Barbara, here's what of course you know my feelings. I hate her, and I think the second one I just said was I hated her, just to clarify. So by the end, it showed how the only positive thing was, and this is me saying this, the only positive thing to come for that character by the end, following what I think you like much more than I, is that it showed how the city drove her. It shows how the city drove Gordon's fiance insane. It just shows you like an element of Gordon's life. Again, Gordon trying to separate work from home. It can't happen. And of course, through that, Barbara's lost and she's gone completely insane. That as an idea may have been more interesting had we liked her from the start. That's the problem with that. It's an interesting place to go ultimately. And of course, season 2 seems like it's going to roll with that of like, well, if she's not Barbara, she's just the character with the name Barbara, and we'll see where we can go with her from there. And it seems like they have some interesting plans for her now. So I'm a little more hopeful on Barbara in season 2 now that they've established, she's not the traditional Barbara Keene at all, which they've established from the beginning almost. But You see what I mean, though? It's just, had we liked her from the beginning, that whole the evolution would have been a little more interesting. Hello? Tiki, you there? Sorry, folks. He is returning. Not Batman Returns, but he is returning. So anyway, in general, I really Barbara. She's awful. She's terrible. She sucks. But
going through that list of insults again.
That was a bad thing. You see what I mean, though, TK? I kind of see the promise towards the end of like driving her insane because it takes away an element of Gordon's life. Only problem is we didn't care about her from the start, so that's the only issue with that.
My whole thing is I feel like the writers genuinely did make the best out of a terrible situation.
Exactly. That's what it boils down to. They made a boo-boo what they realized, okay, we have too many characters. We have so many characters. We have to shaft somebody. It has to be her, and with that, we don't know how to write female characters. All our writing strength went into Fish and Leslie and Selena. So we've run dry on the female character well. And with that, we have nothing for him. We've made some mistakes writing, and we can't salvage it. So we gotta make her crazy.
Yeah, and I think they had fun with it though, and I can see that fun kind of like eeping off into the screen with her last few episodes.
Yeah, and again, going forward, it seems that they've accounted for her. They've really lost her? So forward, like season 2 is looking more promising for Barbara because they're embracing the crazy.
I'm intrigued if season 2 she actually becomes a character that we don't just fucking point and laugh at.
Remember, we just made her chase Meridian too. Remember?
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ! I forgot about the Chase Meridian thing. Yeah. Okay.
Again, just driving her crazy might have been more interesting how we cared about her, but she's crazy now. We're rolling with it from this point forward, hoping the craziness.
I think it's interesting specifically because we hated her. I think this is one of the rare times where the showrunners of a show like genuinely acknowledge that a character is awful, and so they just completely change the entire purpose of the character because of the audience reaction. I find that fascinating. I really do.
It's interesting, but it really hurts me because I like Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the advantage I have, not fanboy.
Yeah, but again, that's the only positive thing you might get out of it. It just shows you, and hopefully, maybe they'll play with this in 2. I'm hoping they play with this in 2. That again, it's the city driving someone close to Gordon crazy. Basically, this is the equivalent they had, and they probably will get to having Barbara Gordon, the daughter, paralyzed. Sure. This is essentially the equivalent of, I think if they play it like that, it might make, not that by no means make the whole first season good for Barbara, by no means, but maybe make the ending a little more of like, she was just driven completely insane by the crime in the city, and that's something Gordon wants to avoid. Okay, anyway, so from that terrible character, let's stop at some positive. What did the season get?
Yeah, we have to really kind of bolt this thing out in bullet points from here on out.
Okay, so what were some of the strengths this season?
I think the fact that the show was able to have both good standalone episodes and, in general, a pretty damn compelling arc. I mean, we can all agree the whole thing with the mobsters and the Penguin, that was what we were tuning in week to week to see. Right?
Well, I mean, that and,
like, we weren't tuning in week to week to see, like, the drama between Tompkins and Barbara and everything like that. We were tuning in to see the mob stuff. At least I was. That was definitely the stuff that kept me like, oh, man. Like, it kept it from... The mob stuff kept from watching this series being kind of a chore. Because it genuinely gave me something to latch onto and be like, all right, I'm completely invested in this. This storyline has a lot of layers to it. All the characters that play are really pretty multifaceted, and they all have intriguing roles. Like, I'm really into this. I mean, don't be like the Alfred and Bruce stuff is really good. The Gordon and Bullock stuff is great, but the mob stuff, I feel, was really the glue that kind of held everything together and really made me genuinely want to come back to this show for more in spite of some of the other weaknesses.
And again, in a way, the mob stuff's true to the premise of the show, just reflecting on the city as a whole, which is probably where a lot of the strength came from for that underneath it all.
A lot of it really reminds me of Batman Begins in a way.
Yeah. And, I don't want to sound like I'm just like knocking Carmine Falcone and in Begins, but I'm just saying that he didn't have a lot of time in that, but he did establish some great stuff when he was on screen.
No, I'm not trying to compare the characters. I'm just trying to compare like the overall kind of mood and aesthetic.
It's showing you how the city works in that movie and showing how the city works in the series. Yeah, it's interesting.
Sure.
Anyway, so with the villains, obviously, especially the mob is consistently good throughout it, pretty much. Fish wavered now and then, but it was consistently good. The villains, obviously, because of the next season's rise of the villains, that was a big.
I have some stuff to say.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Let me bullet point these strengths quickly. So the villains were a draw, obviously, the consensus along with the mob. The casting was very strong, especially for the kids.
All around, the casting was strong. Besides Barbara, I don't really think we had a bad actor in the bunch.
Yeah, but again,
and you know what? Even Barbara, like, for as fucking badly written as that character was, she played crazy well. She plays
crazy well, but not that. If she's playing that character, she sucks. But if she's just playing crazy lady, she's fantastic.
That's what I'm saying.
And again, season 2,
she's not a terrible actress. She's just got her wheelhouse.
See, here's the thing: she's in the first half of the show, she's playing Barbara Keene, and she doesn't have anything to work with, which is why it's terrible. Second half, she's playing crazy while it's still mislabeled.
Second half, she's playing Barbara Keene's alter ego, Chase Meridian.
Exactly, and again, season 2 is going to be all Chase Meridian, so it might.
Okay.
And they've explicitly said she's not getting less crazy. They've said that in
good. So, do not have her get better. That would be the mistake.
It's like if she's either going to remain the same or get worse. Those are pretty much her options. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So Gordon Bullock, of course.
I'm gonna really have to wrap up at this point. So we have to get going. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Right. Let me keep going. I'm gonna fire through here. So Gordon and Bullock are very well represented. They have great chemistry. A lot of cool moments throughout the season. As Tiki said, good one-off episodes. A decent build. The payoff episodes were good too. There was a pilot was very strong, I thought, and so was the finale. Thinking about the season break was also really good too. Like just kind of Gordon being put in an unfamiliar place, being put in Arkham, of sacrifice for all the stuff there. Also, the original characters were usually good as well. Again, the Fish Mooney and some of our just the majority of our bags. I can't really think of a bad original character we had off the top of my head. Again, Barbara might as well be an original character, but a Fish Mooney. There was this character who was kind of a pyromaniac who was he wasn't all bad or anything. We had some interesting, the Arkham Assassin. We had interesting characters. Okay, let's transition to some weaknesses here. So again, overall weaknesses: Barbara. In addition to Barbara, again, Montoya and Allen, they were very underused, very misrepresented. They had nothing to do. They stretched because of the episode order, because it was 16, then it was 20. There were. Because they had the stretch for episodes, they had the stretch plot lines, which again, a big problem was it was just the ogre, the ogre 3-parter was a big problem, which we're going to get into hopefully. The Dollmaker was also a stretch, with Fish Mooney there. It's a stretch for time. He's putting her in an unfamiliar place, just rooting for her to get in prison. Of course, completely unrelated to the plot. It was a gamble. Overall, too, some people just weren't crazy about the villain of the week thing. Me, I didn't mind it, the procedural thing that Tiki's been talking about. I'm just not. Again, either way, I thought it was fine as long as if it's played like a one-off, it could be good. Like the Balloon Man. That's a good villain of the week example. They're the spirit of the goat, but overall, I thought it was. Any weaknesses, Tiki?
I'm sorry, what? Where are we?
Weaknesses.
Okay, I definitely have a few. I think.
Well, I went through Barbara, Montoya, and Allen already.
That's fine, because all my weaknesses, structure of the series as a whole.
What do you got?
In general, I hated all the episodes where the title was really exciting and then it was just a dud. So we had Selena Kyle, we had Arkham, we had Harvey Dent. Let's see. Some of the others towards the end were okay. Like the Scarecrow was a little better. But
Red Hood was decent.
Yeah, Lovecraft also. I just hated that trend for one. And I just thought it was really insulting as a viewer because it's just like, hey, we're being drawn in by this big name on the title of the episode, Harvey Dent. And he's like barely in the episode. He's in the episode for like 2 scenes and that's it. That pissed me off. It really did. And it continually kept happening for a while. I say in general, the bigger flaw I have with this show, and we'll see how they work it in season 2, but honestly, with season 2 being Rise of the Villains, I don't think that's going to be a way to fucking, like, you know, ease my tension here. I think they introduced too many villains too fast. They have a whole bunch of them that they need to, like, go back to and tie up in season 2. God knows how many they're actually going to get to. God knows if we're really going to see, like, you know, like the new version of Black Mask or Scarecrow or something like that.
Actually, we will see Black Mask and some of the older villains, but they're going to be in Arkham.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, at least with Arkham, that's like a way to have like all of them under this broad spectrum location. But I just think in general, like we just got too much too fast, especially in terms of something like I really do feel like they should have waited on some of these guys, and it's like Harvey Dent. I don't know.
If they're going to year 1 route, Harvey Dent could be useful, but we'll have to see. That's going to be in season 2.
I thought Harvey Dent's going to be useful eventually. The thing was, he was just like a limp noodle in the actual series with how useful he was.
Yeah, because the only time it really helped, you just kind of got him in deeper trouble, really.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got. I just, like I said, there's more that I like about the show than I don't, but I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't really care about any of that love triangle stuff too much, and to be honest, I think you're more invested in the Tompkins stuff than I am. I mean, I like her. I think she's a genuinely pleasant character. I just don't want the whole series to be about Gordon's love life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not necessarily a weakness, but I just think that the show, I really do hope in season 2 the show finds a better balance between like procedural episodes and story episodes, because as decent as some of the procedural episodes were, I just felt like the episodes where we really got a lot of meaty story out of the mob storyline and stuff like that.
They said it's going to be a lot more serialized than 2.
That's good. I like that.
It's either all serialized or very, very little procedural.
Right. Okay. Well, that's promising, man.
Okay, so let's transition to best episodes.
Best episodes.
Like quickly, real list. Yeah, sure. So honorable mention has to be Everyone Has a Cowboy. I think it's a really good one-off episode.
That's a great. It's probably my favorite title of all of season 1.
And of course, it's a term relative to what's going on in the episode. Again, Loeb has a big role, and it's a fun buddy episode because it's Gordon Bullock and Penguin on an adventure together. It's really fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
And of course, Loeb's crazy daughter, played by I believe it's Nicole Tom from The Nanny, who she's great as is playing his daughter. Again, so it's a fun episode. It's a great one-off. So the other 3 are more kind of like in the grand scheme of the series. I thought it was a fantastic episode. So you want me to go first with the 3?
Yeah, just crack it out really quick.
Okay, so the 3, the pilot rewatch. It is so strong. It's really the crux of the series.
I'll have to rewatch it again. I think I've only seen it like twice.
Yeah, the pilot's good. Again, the best part of the pilot has to be, of course, the end scene where he.
I'm sure there's some lag in it. Like I'm sure when Montoya and Alan come up, it's just like, oh, this is just killing time.
Now, to be fair, they only have like one scene. It's like in the beginning.
Right, and that one scene is kind of just spinning the wheels.
Yeah, it's like it starts like a potential arc that does not pass.
Exactly.
But seriously, of course, the big thing, the big hooking point of the whole series has to be the ending, which is fantastic. It's goes to the opening bit where Bruce's parents get killed, and the ending bit where Gordon has to. There's that fantastic bit where he's just walking, like shoves the Penguin around, saying "Shut up."
That was an iconic moment that I definitely do think drew people in for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Just the horde.
I mean, how can you watch that, and especially the aftermath when the Penguin kills the guy for the sandwich? How can you watch all that in the first episode and not want to come back and see what's going to happen next?
Essentially, for me, that's your 3rd episode of Breaking Bad. That ending. That's what it is for me in comparison for this series. That's is Gordon like not killing him, but making it look like he killed him, just walking on a tightrope. That moment to me is fantastic.
That's
then there's a. You know how much I love the 3rd episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So then there's a Viper. Viper is a great episode and another kind of a good one-off, but again, getting some plot in the way too. It's introducing Viper, which is connecting essentially Venom to Wayne Enterprises, which is interesting. The drug that will be used by Bane, or at least it has connection to Bane.
Yeah.
Also, again, the best line, best bit in the whole season is in this episode. But Jim, it's lunch.
It's lunch.
The best Bullock line in the whole series so far, the whole season so far. And again, for me, it's a good episode, decent. Again, there's very little Barbara stuff, and I don't think there's any Barbara stuff. To be honest with you.
I don't think so. I think it might be the first episode without Barbara.
I tell you, my top two. Again, Pilot has minimal Barbara. The other two, top two here, they haven't. Actually, three have no Barbara in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think everyone has a cow that has Barbara in it. Do you remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
The point is, these top two don't have Barbara. So Viper doesn't have Barbara in it, which is fun. My number one does not have Barbara in it. It's a fantastic episode all around. Welcome back, Jim Gordon.
Oh yes,
I adore this episode so much. One, it's kind of a good kind of standalone episode. Also, I think. I mean, there might be like a few plot lines in between, like Bruce Wayne going through some stuff. But I mean, this episode is fantastic. It's Gordon going up against blatant corruption. His arch enemy, one of his arch enemies from year
This episode is the most definitive Gordon episode of the whole series.
This one to me felt like the most year one out of all the episodes. That might be why I really liked it, because I had two of Gordon's arch enemies in this episode. I had Loeb, obviously, which is always a good thing. I like, because he's going up against like the guys he's eventually going to need to usurp power from, and Flass, who Flass in the comic in the story was his partner, who was overly corrupt and kind of. Really, Gordon was his punching bag, and then the reverse happened when Gordon made him his punching bag, and it was awesome. So, point is, Gordon going up against a big milestone of coming back to right after he comes back to the precinct, and he's just like the most blatant act of corruption I've ever seen in something Batman related has happened. Guy gets stabbed and they roll to soup, like stabbed with a screwdriver, and they call it stabbed with a nice pick, and they call it a suicide.
Right, exactly.
And Gordon obviously is like, "What? Are you serious? Like, it's a roll to suicide. How is this a suicide?" It's fantastic. And of course, Penguin's bond with Gordon really comes into the fray here of like this kind of this owing Cobblepot a favor, and then Gordon. The ending is such one of the best parts. You just feel so uncomfortable with what he's done to achieve.
Yeah.
And of course,
it was kind of like one of the first morally gray things that Gordon ever does.
It is, and again, that shows you embodies what he's doing. Again, Penguin is kind of his surrogate Batman in a way, that he's someone outside of the law who he's going to help him get justice in the end, which is, again, going through kind of like how Bruce Wayne went through father figures and Batman Begins, and going through Batman figures like Dent and Penguin and all these other ones.
Sure.
So anyways, again, really fantastic episode. Him with his speech, which I'm going to get into in a moment. Anyway, so that's my best episode right there.
Okay, so I've got like one or two honorable mentions, I guess. Let's see. I'm going to bump Red Hood into honorable mention just because I found another one that I like a little bit more. But Red Hood is a terrific episode. It's a good standalone. It's definitely introduces a lot of Gotham lore into the mix. And I just
Really wish they didn't kill the first guy, though.
Yeah, but I like the way that the whole Red Hood thing like kind of plays out.
Yeah.
It's a good kind of like bottle episode in a way.
It's a gift of the Magi almost. Not gift of the Magi. I'm thinking monkey. Wait, is it Magi? Or no, it's Monkey Paw. Monkey Paw.
Right. It is kind of like the Monkey Paw. I gotta give some props to Balloon Man, honestly.
Oh, Balloon Man is a good one.
That was an early one where it was like, okay, this is really good. Like, this is really good. Of course, that episode definitely it introduced Maroni, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when Penguin. There's that great bit when Penguin comes back saying, "Home."
Exactly right. That's the cold open.
And then speaking of the cold open, that's when they still couldn't get the Gotham logo right.
Oh God, we had trouble with that, bro. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but it was one of those things. Like, since Breaking Bad just cuts to the Breaking Bad logo with perfection, it's just one of those things that kind of bothered us.
Yeah. Where's Pinkman looking at the tag barrel? Where's that cut?
Okay, so just to quickly go through my selections. Let's see. I have My first selection is the Penguin's umbrella, just because that's when shit hits the fan. I love the ending. I love Gordon and Bullock really kind of coming to blows with each other.
Harvey
has some stupid shit like Victor Zsasz with Barbara. I mean, that's
Well, again, that's not Victor's fault. That's Barbara's fault. Just saying.
No, I know. But just Barbara. Let's just say Barbara is the one thing. Like this does kind of have a lot of Barbara in it. But other than the Barbara, this episode is just chock full of awesome.
Yeah, she took Victor Zsasz's muffin.
Right. Okay, the other one I have is I almost kind of want to list Fearsome Dr. Crane and the Scarecrow kind of into one. If I had to pick one or the other, it'd probably be the Scarecrow, just because I think that episode is just really fucked up and scary, like genuinely scary.
Oh yeah.
And it's also just a really good bottle episode too, I think.
Sure.
I feel like the Fearsome Dr. Crane is a better episode, kind of like in the overall context of the series. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a little bit more going on there. And of course, Fearsome Dr. Crane is where we have that great Bullock monologue that I love.
You know, I wonder if she's coming back in season 2 because I like.
I would hope so, but I'm kind of doubtful.
Yeah, I doubt it because he's got the Duchess after all. No, but seriously, that girl would have been nice for Bullock, but as one of his many failed love conquests.
That girl was adorable. She was freaking adorable.
The problem is he didn't get to date her though, and you know it's
right.
I would have liked it if that was his Leslie Tompkins, but.
And then, oh yes, I kind of skipped ahead a little. My favorite episode of the season, it's probably got to be What the Little Bird Told Him.
That's the Maroney Penguin episode, right?
Exactly. How fucking good is that ending, man?
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's crazy. I feel like What the Little Bird Told Him is almost like Penguin's Umbrella Part 2. It's like all the shit is just coming down. It's when Liza kind of gets found out and perished.
Would you say it's your Ozymandias for this one?
I would not go that far.
Well, I mean, comparatively. Not saying it's the Ozymandias.
I would not compare it to Ozymandias in any way, shape, or form because that episode is fucking perfect and no episode of Gotham is perfect.
All right, fair. Well,
I'm sorry. It's just Ozymandias is a fucking big leg to stand on.
Welcome back to
I'll tell you what. I'll compare it to Full Measure. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Like half measure, full measure. That's about as far as I'll go. I'm just not going to go Ozymandias.
All right, fine. Ozymandias was an overshoot, but Full Measure I can live with.
Exactly. Okay, and that's it for my my top 3.
Okay, so week episodes, we just agree on what our 3 week episodes are.
I mean, really quickly, I kind of just want to point out Arkham is a runner-up. Just because Arkham, it just disappointed both of us so much that was the title of the episode, and then it turned out like the actual episode was the actual episode.
Well, it was about acquiring Arkham. It wasn't about.
It was about real estate.
But actually, so let me just clarify here real quick. So these aren't the worst episodes; these are the weakest within the first season. So I mean, there are because they interspace so many plot lines within these episodes. A lot of these fruition.
Okay, so
Nathan, are you gonna tell us what the worst episodes of Gotham are, Nathan?
Oh, you're Peter Petrelli, lost. Yes, so the ogre trilogy of episodes, the three part ogre.
It's a long slog, people. It was a long slog.
So again, we emphasize weak episodes because the main plot line of these 3 were very weak, Barbara centric, as you can imagine. But
I think Peter Petrelli would have been a fine villain for 1 episode.
1, 2 tops if they plotted it right.
I think, yeah, and I don't think they plotted it right at all.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, bear in mind, we had some cool moments with the side parts here, like Enigma killing Doherty. That was a big moment.
Yeah, right. There were definitely moments here and there that kind of made up for it, but Oh my God, Blue Dragon 5, you and I were both so pissed off when we realized that the third episode in a row was going to be devoted to the ogre.
Yeah, because we were thinking. I think we were thinking like Jordan. Sorry,
Jordan.
not Jordan.
Did you just invent a Joker and Golden ship?
No.
Oh
my God! Do not. No. I was saying Joker, but I stopped myself with Jerome. Okay.
Okay.
Good God! Don't go that route. No, you're better than that, Tiki.
Team Jordan all the way.
Don't bring that up again.
Okay. Anyways.
My point is, we were thinking it might be Jerome, anvil, dropping an anvil in someone's head, giant hammer. We were thinking maybe it could have been something like that. Because there was hints that he might be factored into the finale of the show, but that didn't pan out.
I'm not. I think you like Jerome a lot better than I did. I never really latched.
I'm just saying I heard that he might, that he and
I just thought he was just a lazy, like, hey, look, this guy might be the Joker, maybe.
Let's put a pin in the Jerome stuff for season 2 spec.
Okay.
So, the point, we had other ideas what anvil or the hammer could be, but this when it was revealed to be a continuation of the Barbara Ogre story, it was like, oh my God.
We were pissed.
Now, there's a fantastic Gordon moment in Anvil or the Hammer, but again, context of the episode.
Right. Okay.
Like he's contributed this awesome moment to such a horrible character. Like, why are you doing this for her? She's just Barbara. It's not even Barbara. It's Diet Barbara. Well, come on, man.
Okay. All right. So you want to move on to favorite moments?
Yeah. So let's rapid fire a few favorite moments. So again, I mentioned Jim. It's lunch.
Of course.
I love Gordon's badge speech within the Welcome Back, Jim Gordon. He basically he confronts Flash. And he says, "I'm protected, my guys." And last one, he basically does this awesome thing. He raises his badge in the air and talks to the rest of the GCP. He's saying, "He a man walked in here and he trusted in us, in us." Basically saying a man tried to help us, and he went out of his own way to help us, and he got killed only to benefit that man. Basically, Gordon gives this awesome speech about the badge and what it means.
Right.
So, you want to go through a few?
Yeah, I mean, I already mentioned my Bullock speech. That was probably the moment in the whole season that kind of stuck with me the most.
The Alfred Bullock team up was awesome in every sense of the word.
Yes. I mean, of course, the Penguin has a ton of awesome moments.
I think cheese, Alfred.
Oh God!
I get all the information I need out of this kid with a roll full of nickels.
Of course, I think the standout Penguin moment is when he escapes from Maroni's like crushing machine. That was fucking brilliant. Let's see. I
love when Jim's at Oswald's club. Remember when his mother's there? Basically, it's just this, police. It's just basically Gordon is so uncomfortable there because everyone's always asking for a favor, and two, it's just Penguin's like so happy. Again, that whole scene was great.
I love the moment where Nigma randomly asks Gordon and Bullock about video games.
Yeah, that is a good moment.
Again, shows Nigma's social awkwardness to a T.
In Anvil or the Hammer, there's a moment where again it's wasted on a bad episode, but it's such a good moment though. Right off the bat, when he goes to the Penguin and Gilzine, pulls draws Penguin close, has a gun on Gilzine, says, "You have no idea what I'm capable of."
Right.
You may think you know, but you don't. Such a cool moment. Oh my God.
I mean, anything with Maroni really, Maroni really stole the show. Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking of like a single standout Maroni moment, but
lobster dinner. Lobster dinner.
Yes, that was a good one. Okay.
Actually, I think it was lobster brunch. It was too early in the morning to be there.
Also, I think the cold open of Spirit of the Goat is kind of an underrated moment.
That is a good moment.
It really did shed a lot of light on Bullock. It was kind of the first time we got to see another side of Bullock.
Pretty much any of Bullock's one-liners are also included there.
Of course.
It says this hilarious bit wherever, when they're fighting someone using Viper, just Bullock just being thrown across the room saying, "Jim!" It's always funny. Okay, my last moment I got here, favorite moments. I love Bruce and Selena doing kind of an homage to the Batman Returns dance, and it's kind of like they're talking about like the whole no killing thing. That's a good scene. That's a good bit there.
Okay, I think that's about all I got to. So.
All right, so let me quickly fire through it. Let me just tell you in case you don't know this stuff, because I don't know how distant you've been keeping from season 2 news. So here's what we know going into season 2. This is stuff
Rapid fire.
Okay, so villains will be a big focus, as you can imagine. Harvey Dent and Lucius Fox will be regulars.
That's good.
As well as Leslie Tompkins. She was technically a guest star.
Lucius Fox actually had a good introduction. So
he did.
He's coming in on the right foot. Harvey Dent, we're going to have to make up some ground on.
But he's a good actor. I've seen him be a good actor. I think he can pull it off, though.
Okay.
He plays Harvey Dent. Okay, so we'll learn a little bit about Selena's past. Remember, her mother was like a thing that was hinted at in the first season.
Right.
So Bruce.
I hope we don't dwell on that too much.
Sure. Okay, so Bruce will have that dual personality thing, and he's going to be like the
which is kind of awesome. I really like the sound of that.
So he'll be doing the socialite Bruce Wayne thing, but he'll be very like Batman-like and investigating underneath it all.
Mm-hmm.
And also he'll be on working terms with Gordon. Yeah, he and they'll be talking to each other again. He's kind of like distanced himself from Gordon towards the end of last season, but they'll be back on good terms. Mm-hmm. They'll be working together a little more next season. So then we got again Nigma's ego and that clue compulsion. That's going to be a big focus. There'll be a reoccurring aspect, and also when we see kind of Nigma's ego, he's going to be more confident. And from what I hear, he's going to be getting intimate with some lady.
Oh boy!
Now I'm assuming that's Kringle. We don't know.
I would assume it's Kringle.
I would hope it's Kringle.
Yeah.
Also,
if it's not Kringle, then I feel like that whole arc just kind of was nothing a little bit.
There's also a chance that he's going to be looking to the Penguin as a mentor.
That would be awesome.
Because again, remember when he meets Penguin in that one brief scene in season 1
that we all hyped up so much.
We did. Remember, he knows.
Including the show itself hyped it up.
And the idea is Enigma knows all the stuff about the Penguin, and of course he respects him going forward, it would seem. And now, if he's going down that road, he would respect him and look to him as like, this is a guy who made himself king of Gotham from nothing. I can do something simple. So he's looking to Penguin as a mentor, perhaps.
Which is a great thing about the Penguin, because it really is kind of like the twisted version of the American dream. It's like true Walter White style.
Yeah. Then we have so Barbara's not getting less crazy, and she'll be a very personal villain for Jim Gordon. So like Gordon might try to tackle her with kid gloves, just trying to maybe save her. That's not going to work out at all.
Good.
So the idea is like she's going to be like a really personal villain for him. So Michael Chiklis will be an original character this season. Nathaniel Barnes,
Chiklis. Huh.
And
okay. Chiklis.
And his character essentially looks up to the Jim Gordon, as like the honest cop. He's gonna be a good guy who.
So that's interesting because it's kind of like the older cop looking up to the younger cop in a way.
Exactly, and also there is a chance he might turn villain. We don't know. There's a chance of it.
I mean, when I think, all I'm thinking is Vic Mackey, like he's playing another cop. So it's going to be hard for me to separate that character from this character, but we'll see.
I want to say he's a captain, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay.
Also, we have a comics character coming to the fray this season. We got Silver St. Cloud, who is a love interest of Bruce Wayne's, and traditionally in the comics, so she'll be introduced as a young girl that might be one of Bruce Wayne's socialite covers.
I'm so excited to see the fucking romantic intrigue of Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
It might be cute. I don't know. What I'm saying is like.
I'm sorry, that's probably the least exciting bit of news that you've given us so far.
No, I mean she was killed by the Joker. I don't know. It's not.
Well, okay, you should have started with she was killed by the Joker.
Well, okay, actually no, I'm sorry. It's like she's tortured by the Joker and then she's killed by someone else.
Especially considering that Joker is assumingly going to be a big part of this season.
Well, the idea is like she's tortured by the Joker, and then actually in the comics she was killed by onomatopoeia. But I'm not.
There's a villain called onomatopoeia.
Well, I mean, it was kind of out of continuity, so I don't know if that counts.
How do you take this shit seriously?
It's a Kevin Smith character.
Oh, really? It is? Oh, nice.
Yeah, and essentially he doesn't.
More respect for it now.
He's a really cool character. He doesn't speak. He just makes onomatopoeic sounds.
Oh god.
So he says like crack or like whatever. Like he's like the epitome.
So he has Tourette's?
I'm saying that's how he communicates. So he just speaks through. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know who the guy is. Even he always wears a mask.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, so let's see. So after Silver St. Cloud, we got our two new villains who are kind of filling in for Fish Mooney to a degree. They seem really interesting. I was almost going to watch a clip of these guys, but they seem so interesting I didn't finish it. We have Theo Galvin, who is a completely original character, it would seem. He seems to be from a few seconds I saw this guy, he's going to be like Fish Mooney with more class and menace.
That's interesting.
And his sister, who is, I forget her name in this show, but her character is based off of Tigress from the comics, who's a Batman villain. Well, she's a DC villain, I should say.
Right.
Anyway, so the point is that these two guys are going to be coming to Gotham. They're going to be turning things more. They're going to be introducing this. They're going to be breaking people out of Arkham. They're going to be inciting madness in the streets. These guys are the ones who are like, they want to make Gotham chaotic, and they're just going to play around because it amuses them.
I remember the last time a brother and sister duo was introduced in a comic book show in the second season. It didn't turn out terribly well. Heroes.
Oh, right. Well, it's been, yeah.
Oh, those characters were fucking awful. They stopped that whole show dead in its tracks.
So these two seem interesting. Like there's like Mooney was trying to get control over the mob. These guys just trying to.
I mean, I was skeptical about Fish Mooney until we actually got to know her, and so likewise, I'm probably going to be skeptical of these guys until they prove that they're going to be engaging.
I can tell you, these guys seem like they're going to be interesting. Like just they're inciting madness for their own amusement, like just trying to destroy the city in a way. Also, we have our announced villains. So we got Victor Freeze, Mad Hatter, Clayface, and also we're
honestly super excited about all three of those guys because I think all three of those guys could have made really good Nolan villains.
Oh yeah, of course, Victor Freeze. I want to see Victor Freeze and Nora Freeze. That's what I want to see. I want to see why he.
Oh yes.
That is
yes.
I'm dying to see that. Mad Hatter was a prominent scientist before he became the Mad Hatter.
I'm excited about Mad Hatter. I think Mad Hatter doesn't get nearly the amount of coverage that he should.
I would like to see Mad Hatter go through a breakdown relating to Alice in Wonderland. That's what I would like to see. Like, he literally falls down the rabbit hole and he's committed an Arkham Asylum because of it. I would like to see that. Now, also, we're going to have a gang of Fireflies. So, essentially, it's going to be Firefly as a moniker. It's going to be a gang of people associated with Firefly. We're not sure how it's going to work. That's all it's been announced. A gang of the character Firefly. So, they're building the history of the guy, so we'll see.
For some reason, I'm tempted to make an Underdwellers joke.
Okay, speaking of something like that, though. Okay, so here's one of the big things of this season. One of the runners for this season, it would seem, is going to be Jerome. Jerome's going to be a fixture of this season. He's going to be.
I'm not happy about that. I think Jerome's a lazy fucking character.
Well, tell us what you really think.
I really think that he's just a marketing gimmick where it's just like, hey guys, yeah, might be the Joker, maybe. I don't know, maybe.
Well, I'm reserving judgment on it because let's just.
If it is the Joker, then that's going to be the most fucking stupid, obvious reveal ever. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Let me say it.
It'd be so fucking obvious.
Yeah, let me say this.
It's like they're not even trying if he's the Joker.
Yeah, let me say this.
Okay, go ahead.
It's what they've said exactly. What they said exactly is they've never, since the first season, they've been saying they're not going to directly tell things about the Joker, which makes me think their goal is not to just directly have a Joker one way or the other. But because remember, we back in the season when we were talking about, there was speculation that we're going to have a bunch of nods to Joker, but like down the line, the idea is like we don't know. Joker has so many potential origins represented through these people who may or may not be Joker. Mm-hmm. And they have said for this season with Jerome. Jerome is going to be in this season. The idea is he is connected in some way. Again, it's very vague the way they phrase it, so we have no idea. I'm reserving judgment that he is involved in the DNA of the Joker. So he's somehow going to connect the Joker, but doesn't necessarily mean he is Joker. But regardless, I just want to address the real possibility here. So, look. If he is the Joker, if they go the conventional, there's an if, because it's not set in stone, it's not. I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world if he. Again, I'm not saying they don't make him full-fledged Joker, but if he's just like just a crazy guy who's just just insane, just loves chaos and madness. Which again, it sounds like these villains this season are really going to be, opening up to the world to go nuts on.
I don't know what my fucking problem with this whole season is, given how they've been advertising it.
What is it?
It's like I feel like we're falling into a Spider-Man 3 trap. I really do, and it very much worries me.
You know, I think it's, to be honest with you, I think it's just a marketing gimmick with the name. I don't think the season's going to reflect that too much.
Of course, it's a goddamn marketing gimmick. What else would it be? But it's still like, just judging by all the things you've laid out, it's too much, man. Because we're still following the Penguin. We've got the characters in Arkham, assumedly, like the Scarecrow, that are going to get followed, and then we're introducing all these new people. It just seems to me like it's too much, especially if they want to go like a less procedural route with the whole thing.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I'm giving it a shot because they've had time to chew on.
I just don't like the whole like, oh, it's it's the rise of the villains. Was it last season the rise of the villains?
I'll tell you what.
Did the Penguin and the Riddler last season not rise?
I'll tell you, I think when they say rise, it's a mislabel of what they're going for. What I think they're going for is that it's the rise of the act, like the term. So not the term, but it's the rise of the costume. Like the crazies are now pouring in. The crazies were opened up by the end of last season. Like remember, it was like all blown chaos, and we were seeing these people kind of come into the forefront.
I think it's just way too much too soon. I think they should have like introduced one major new villain and then kept concentrating mostly on Penguin and Enigma, with that one new villain being kind of like another primary focus. Like let's say Mr. Freeze is like the main new villain for this season, and then we've still got the Penguin, we've still got Enigma, we've still got Falcone out there, we still got Zaz. Zaz we haven't even fucking talked about yet.
Well, look, with the villains and all that stuff, we got to bear in mind. I'm piggybacking off the Joker here. Big thing with the Joker, and it kind of echoes with all the villains, is that if they have him in there, and I think the actor plays him. I thought he did a great job as a potential Joker. I thought he did a good job as it. I'd like to see him, see what he does with it. He seems to have some interesting stuff.
I'm just saying, if they're trying to make the Joker a fucking mystery and Jerome's the Joker, then they are doing a shit job.
That's the thing. Again, I can't reserve judgment. We just don't know. But yes,
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I know. I fucking know. Okay, mark my words. I know.
Yeah, but look, even if he is the Joker, it's reflective. They're going different directions with things. And if they did give the Joker a set, I know, not crazy about. A lot of people aren't crazy about giving him a set fortune. I got that.
Fuck no. What the hell? Like, why is the Dark Knight Joker one of the most compelling interpretations of the Joker ever? Because he doesn't have a defined backstory.
Well, look, we've had Jokers with backstories, and still they weren't too bad.
Killing Joke worked.
Again, that's leaving it up in the air, and it sounds like they might be going for that. Regardless, again, it's hard to tell that because we don't know. But I'm saying worst case scenario. I'm just laying out the worst case scenario. If he is,
and also I just don't like the fact that it's a J name too. I feel like that's kind of easy and obvious.
Well, I'm saying with that, as long as
Joker.
That's the line they gotta walk, and that's the line they've walked with the rest of the villains. This is the line they're going to walk with all these villains. They might be, they're going to be introducing, and they can't have them evolve to that villain estate, or else they kill it because then, Gordon's dealt with these guys, but he's bad enough to deal with these guys. I
don't even think the Joker should be in the show at all. I really don't.
As long as it's like, if he's just like think about this. If he's just a killer who laughs, then it's
the fucking Joker.
No, he's just a killer.
No, I'm sorry, but a villain who laughs, it's the Joker.
Not
think of the Joker.
No, a guy who kills people and leaves smiles, that's the Joker. I'm saying a guy who just laughs. Bunch of crazies who were laughing. Is that really that's just a guy?
You're gonna have I can already tell this is gonna be like the big sticking point in our conversation this whole season. Okay, well,
look, from what I've seen in the clip, we're gonna have some wacky villains in Arkham too. I'm saying these are guys like you might just be laughing and going crazy.
Yeah, and that's my whole thing is that I don't necessarily think this show needs to be more fucking wacky than it already was. I think it was already towing a line in season 1 that they were very lucky to be able to tow as well as they did. And a lot of people, you've got to remember, a lot of people fucking think this show's garbage. They do. That's just fact. We're not dealing with a critically acclaimed show here. We're not. A lot of people thought the first season was bad. I mean, we're people that we think that the first season in general was pretty deep. It was pretty good. Definitely had a lot of weak elements to it, but I'm just saying, man, I think they're really trying too hard here, and I fear for it. I really do. I don't think the show's going to get canceled. I'm not worried about that. I think the Batman name alone is going to be a big enough draw. I'm saying we could get into like some hero style, like real wonkiness if they're not careful.
I'm saying optimistically, if they toe the line properly, they could accomplish something great, or it could backfire big time. But
I think it'd actually benefit them to have 16 episodes a season instead of 24 for one. I think that'd be a benefit, but they're never going to go for that. Because 16 episodes just forces you to tighten up the story. That's just a natural fact. You know what I mean? I don't know. Look, I'm sorry. I don't need to be the downer. I'm just like, I have not liked the promos that I've seen, and I've not liked this whole emphasis on like, oh, look at the big crazy villains. I don't know.
All right, anyway. So also the other thing going into the season, Gordon has been bumped down to beat cop because Loeb getting back at him for
which I'm kind of excited about.
Oh yeah, and I think I know a little too much about the first episode, but let's just say Gordon might be going through some interesting stuff this season with his position at the GCPD. I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with that.
Believe me, I've been in similar spots to knowing too much about the first episode of, like, let's say Breaking Bad seasons before, so I totally get you.
Right.
I've told you this before, but Entertainment Weekly flat out fucking spoiled.
I remember.
The whole cold opening of season 8. Spoiled it right there in their opening paragraph. I will never get over that. Oh, Walter White is coming back to its own and blah, blah, blah. And it's all deserted and run down and graffiti. And then he sees the fucking neighbor. And the neighbor drops the groceries and Orange and Godfather. I'm like, fuck you, Entertainment Weekly. Okay, I'm sorry.
We get hope for Jerome Messiah. Let's go into some hopes for the speculation.
The titles?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's go through the titles. Sorry. No, let's go.
Okay, I mean, I am on borrowed time here, so we need to wrap this up.
Quickly, let's go through. I only got like 3 things of spec. So what do you got for?
Okay, so episode 1, Damned If You Do. I think this is going to be kind of about like sort of like the catch-22 sort of situation that Gordon sort of finds himself in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, and I think that's what it's referring to.
It's like whatever he does, he can't make a difference, and of course, that being the position he was given at the end of last season, he's kind of in charge of Gotham at this point, unofficially.
Sure.
The keys to the kingdoms are left in his hands, and anything he does is wrong. So he's just curious.
Exactly. It's much like how any political figure probably feels these days. You know what I mean? With social media just dissecting everything.
Sure. Okay, what's the next one?
The next one is knock, knock, as Marie Schrader would say. Damn it, Marie, it's not knock, knock, it's knock, knock. With the knock, knock.
But the knock knock again, I think now again optimistic. I think they're gonna seed in Jerome this season. I think that's gonna be
are we assuming this is a knock knock joke, hence Joker, hence who really fucking obvious?
Well, I know one thing. There was one really interesting shot. They are hinting at the mythology of Joker with this kid. So again, I'm not sure. Again, they're saying when they say DNA Joker, it makes me think they're not just gonna directly make him the Joker. It makes me intrigued. And one of the things
to me, it's like I don't see how you can do a character that's that close to the Joker and not just make him the Joker. I feel like that's just ripping off the Joker at this point.
Even if he's made Joker, as long as he doesn't call himself Joker and do Joker crimes, I think there's still hope for that.
No, I don't know. To me, I think I'm gonna have a hard time separating it.
I'm saying, let me say one thing about it. There's one thing about it, just to maybe change my mind, but it's probably not going to. But let me try. Let me say one thing.
You can try.
If Bruce Wayne is kind of, look at it this way. Yeah, Bruce Wayne kind of from one spectrum here, he's trying to make things better in Gotham through the company and all that stuff, kind of playing kind of the classic Bruce Wayne angles. Of course, on the other side of things, through kind of our story through Gordon and everything, you have someone trying to undo everything in Gotham. I'm just saying you have like two specters of something that aren't quite fully there yet, but the ideas are being seeded in there, like trying to improve the city and trying to unravel the city. What if we went a little bit
Okay,
like
you know what would have made this Jerome situation better for me? Is if they would have outright just said he was the Joker and not tried to make a mystery out of it.
Yeah, but then you can't have Joker before Batman necessarily, like in name and everything.
Too obvious. Like I said, it's just hitting you over the head. Like, hey, see this crazy guy with red hair who was fucking raised in a circus? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so the point is, Knock Knock seems like it's going to be new opportunities and like things not going to work. I think, regardless, I think our
maybe Penguin comes to Gordon with a problem.
Well, I'm
some
thinking
some sort of mutual benefits there. Perhaps.
I'm convinced that it's going to be someone to come into an opportunity because Gordon. So Jim and the Penguin are going to have another arrangement going on this season. So Penguin. So that might be it, or it could be because I think they're going to be in the first episode, so it's probably not. But I would like to think that'd be our introduction to Theo Galvin and his sister, be like knock new opportunities.
And then finally, if you didn't think Knock Knock was on the nose of like, hey, it's a joke, the last laugh. Like, really? We're going to be that obvious about it? I don't know. It kind of physically hurts.
Yeah, and I think if they toe the line right, it could work. But I'm optimistic on that. So
I'm not optimistic. I'm really not. I think they're gonna fuck up the whole series with this. That's kind of, I hate to say it, but that's kind of the added. And look, if I'm proven wrong, fucking fantastic. I'd love to be proven wrong.
I'm really hoping you're wrong.
I am just seeing shades of Hero season 2 here, man. I really am. I'm seeing shades of like past season 1 heroes, and it's not looking good for me. But I haven't seen any episodes or anything, and I'm sure once I get into the groove and we see the Penguin and we see Bullock and Gordon bantering with each other and shit like that, I'll kind of get into it. But right now, man, this whole rise of the villains thing and having Jerome be so prominent, and it's not gelling well with me, just what I've seen of it.
Well, all I can say that kind of bridges the speculation is I've only seen 1 clip and a half. That's all I've seen, and of course, and a trailer. 1 clip and a half and a trailer, and that clip.
I actually haven't even watched the trailer. Oh wait, no, I think I have. Is the trailer the one that has all the Jerome bits in it?
Well, I mean, it's like a bit where, again, the bit one thing, it's like harking back to the Joker mythology, is him in the police officer outfit.
Right.
So I'm saying that's a kind of a neat nod, I thought. It's like, yeah, he's in the outfit like he was in the original 40s comics. That's nice.
And it's also kind of an homage to the Dark Knight.
But yeah, that's where they got it from. They got it from the thing where Joker puts makeup on and pretends to be a cop.
Sure.
Okay, anyway, so bridging that, the 1 clip I have seen, which kind of goes into speculation, is that Jerome has this really one little neat scene here with Barbara, who's again gone completely nuts. And that's what I'm saying. So people have speculated, and I'm not saying they're completely right or wrong here. And the way the scene plays,
Barbara a couple.
Well, no, not a couple, but it's like I think,
because if that was the case, then my interest in Jerome rises up dramatically.
Well, the point is they're going to be interacting with each other, and I'm not sure how romantic it's going to get. But people have said like she might be his Harley Quinn. I wouldn't go that far quite yet. I don't know. But what I do think, this could be interesting with their dynamic, because basically it's a scene where Jerome is like kind of trying to.
No, hold on. I'm sorry. She can't be his Harley Quinn.
I know,
because we're not going to fuck up 2 iconic characters.
I know.
One fucking character.
I'm just saying that's what people do. That's just the dumb consensus of people saying, well, look, because Joker's talking to another crazy female character.
No, the Harley Quinn on this show, by God, unless they want me to just fucking riot, is going to be named Harleen Quinzel.
I know. Of course, but at this point, Harley Quinn probably shouldn't be around by this point, in my opinion. But
no, yeah, absolutely not.
But yeah, you see what I mean. I'm just saying that's the people. It's like,
oh God, someone pissed me off. Is if fucking Selena and Ivy had a new friend this season named Harleen. That would piss me off. That would really rub me the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, my point is, Jerome and Barbara, they have a scene where it's like Jerome kind of cozying up to Barbara, saying, "You should have a friend in here. Like, you see that guy over there?" And basically, we see a few guys from last season. So Amygdala, remember the Amygdala electrocutioner's big bald henchman?
Yeah.
You know, that guy over there, next to Roman Sionis over there, he likes you. Basically saying, you should have a friend in here, and that'd be helpful. Essentially, in a way, kind of saying, yeah, I should be a friend, yeah. But anyway, basically, Barbara's completely uninterested. She's reading a magazine. She's like not paying him any time of day. And
Okay, well, I will give you this. This whole thing with him and Barbara interacting, that perks my interest a little.
Now I'll tell you why I think that might be interesting in 1 second. Then basically she calls, "Hey, you, big guy over here." Says, "You want to be my friend? You like me? You want to be my friend? Sure. Happy now." Just then Jerome's like, he gives a smile. It's like, Billy's like, I think Jerome is taking a liking to Barbara because he likes, and again, it might be a meta thing. That's what I think. It might be interesting. He likes how screwed up she is. It's like, no, she used to be. Again, if you were,
I like how screwed up she is.
So if you were either Joker or somehow tied into the Joker, just bear with me on that. If you were somehow, similar to the Joker, and if you liked, what would make the Joker laugh? What would entertain Jokers? The idea of someone who's so put together, so a high society socialite who went completely out of her, killing her parents, attacking medical doctors, dated the top cop of the city, and she's in Arkham Asylum. Wouldn't that drive you batty with how much you were laughing?
I guess, yeah.
I'm saying, wouldn't that entertain? If you were the Joker, wouldn't that entertain you?
That's fine.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying he likes how screwed up she is. It's so amusing to him. He's just trying to get inside her head a little bit. It's like, what drove her so crazy? I gotta know. This is hilarious. Right. Is that you?
Yes, it's me reminding you that
I know.
We have to go right now. Literally right now. We have to wrap up.
Yeah, I hope to see Officer Brennan season 2, and that's really good for speculation. So let's wrap up. So overall, we like season 1 has its problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I want to go in and just with this bad attitude. It's just that I don't really like the marketing that they've been doing with this. We've seen plenty of opportunities just in the time that BlueDragonFive and I, just in the time that you and I have been podcasting together, we've seen plenty of times where just because it's a marketing campaign that I don't really like doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad product. So,
look, season 2, they said they have a plan. They've seen the folly in 1. Hopefully they take this time to adjust, but then again, it could go completely south. We don't know, so should I say the last line here to get us out?
Go ahead, please.
See you in season 2, folks. So remember, kids, no matter how dark and scary the world may be right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again.
In season 2.
But Jim, it's lunch!